Ayy, this ain't a drill. Only time I plan is on the field. And when I'm on the field, no, I got mad skills. And you know we bout to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. We keep on coming back, so yeah, they mad still. Everyone sick, make them pay me some bad bills. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for. We callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing it. Only listen to Keyshawn and Aaron. Talk about the Bills dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill when we talk about the Bills. Dominating on the field, and our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill.
What's going on? What it do? Welcome back to another episode live. The Post Podium Podcast.
Yep.
Home of the all sodium takes today. Last bit.
It's gonna be truth.
Every last bit.
It's gonna be truth. I'm trying to manifest goodness in my heart right now.
I don't know how else to explain it.
I'm trying to manifest good feelings, good vibes. I'm hoping somebody comes on and leaves us a little message and makes you feel better today.
Rich says, "Oh man, we live." He said, "I need some cussing and frustration on this episode."
Well,
you in the right place, bro.
Rich,
Right
if my mom wasn't watching, King goes to bed in about an hour. You might get what you're looking for. You might get what you're looking for.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Listen, I've heard some things today. I've heard Sean say in the press conference he didn't think that they could stop the Chiefs' offense.
You know what else he said, which I thought you would pick up on it. But see, you picked up on the part that we already knew. Mm-hmm. Well, the part I knew when I made the prediction last week. Mm-hmm. He said we weren't good in 2 to 3 phases of football.
And he mentioned special teams and defense.
He said we suck, basically. I was proud of that because you're right. You're right.
How in the F can you sit there looking as comfortable as possible and saying, we'll get to work on this?
I want that kind of
when?
I want that kind of peace in my life.
Yeah.
I want that kind of peace in my life.
It's not peace, it's stupidity. It's stupidity, it's idiocy, because where it comes from is him having this notion, and we don't know what the owner is going to do, but him having this notion that his job is safe.
It is. It is.
Why would you say that on the show?
I mean, it
why,
is.
Why would you say that out loud?
I know, but I mean, there's a lot of
How
therapy I need.
How can you justify keeping this dude now?
I can't, but it's safe.
Everybody and their mama right now is calling for his head. National media calling for his head. Listen, people were saying before the game was even played, if Sean McDermott loses this game, he got to go.
I mean, that's how I believe. But Sean McDermott, he's immune. He must have, what do you call it when you get a criminal's the pass? You know, they got immunity, and he feels good. I mean, you know what? First and foremost, this key. I forgot. And yet my co-host over here is burnt up, burnt to a crisp.
I'm Aramis. Welcome.
But this is what gets me. How are you safe? How are you able to function? How are you able to go to bed at night when you started your job 2017? And
2016.
He started in 16? No, he started 17. So his first year was 2017. He lost in the wild card. 2018. You Josh Allen, you don't make the playoffs. 2019, you lose in the wild card. 2020, the golden year, COVID year, no fans. Anywhere you went, it was an equal playing field. Mm-hmm. Lost in the conference finals. After that, you lost in the divisional round twice, actually 3 times.
4 times. This is the 4th time in a row that they've made the divisional round and lost.
So, I mean, it's you know what really bothers me? And you'll feed into this. When people say, if you want to fire McDermott, who you gonna hire?
Yo, you about to make me lose it on the show.
But see, I mean, I'm going to give you the floor.
You want names?
No. Okay. I want to give you the floor. But this is my thought. This is where I am. They're like, are you willing to risk mediocrity for the next 20 years? What is the difference?
Right.
I'm meddling in playoffs 9-win. You didn't win a Super Bowl. You ain't even seen a Super Bowl. So as far as I'm concerned, it's the same as those 20 years. We're gonna get to this place, and let's just jump off the train, I guess.
Rich writes in, McDermott is not going to get fired. It will have to come from Bean, and they came in together. I don't see that happening. This would have to be a Pagula thing to step in and look at the Sabres. The Sabres are a whole different monster. They have no reason for being as bad as they are, other than maybe being a year behind in their progression from the goalie's position. Mm-hmm. But that vision, you can see where they wanted to go, and some of those pieces they didn't expect to pop as soon as they did, right? So of course that brings about expectations that shouldn't be there, but that is a team that is built with a clear vision. This Bills team was not built with a clear vision, and even if it was, the vision sucks ass. Yeah. Like, let's be honest about this right now. Sean McDermott talked about complementary football, and the way that he talks about complementary football and has all season long has been he wants his offense to play to favor his defense and his special teams to favor both of the other ones, right? And the reason I can say that is when you start the season and you change the offense from an air raid, vertical offense to 12 personnel running the football more, what does that favor? That favors running the clock. That favors less turnovers. That favors less chances of your quarterback making mistakes. Like, all of that is exactly what gets a defensive-minded head coach hard at night. Like, oh, you mean we're not going to turn the ball over? Oh, man, you serious? Oh, man, we're going to run the clock out? Oh, my God, keep talking to me. Keep talking to me. Like, bruh, you can't tell me that's not what Sean McDermott wanted yesterday. Every single way that the game played out, they were running the ball for 3 quarters and had Tony Romo sitting there slobbing on them like, yo, they're moving the line. Oh, man, the Chiefs might be in trouble. And I'm saying to myself the whole time, give it a minute.
At that point, see, he hasn't seen this before. He should have, but he hasn't seen this before.
He's seen this enough, though. I mean, come on.
I know. But at that point, looking at that game, it looked like we were in control until halftime hit. At halftime, all things changed.
Because they made adjustments.
Right.
It took them 15 minutes to figure out how to shut down everything we were trying to do, and then guess what? Done.
Now, this is the kick, though. You have first downs alone. Let's talk about first downs. I mean, I know we're kind of jumping in. We got stuff we heard, but just jumping into it because that's where my emotions taking me. 14 passes, 18 runs on first downs. 14 passes, 18 runs on first downs.
16 of Josh's passes were behind the line of scrimmage. Those are quasi runs. Yep. So not only did you run majority of the time, as far as play calls, like actual called runs, but now your passes, because you're scared to death to let Josh go to work against that secondary, the only thing your receivers can hope to do is get blocks long enough, which it never seemed to happen, for them to make a real impactful play through a screen from behind the line of scrimmage. So you have and I should have known that something like this was going to happen when I saw Eric Washington come out for a conference during the week. We never see that dude.
Well, did you hear what he said, though? And I meant to say it on the show on Friday, but I didn't. And he flew in the face of everything I preach. He said, we're not going to make adjustments based on the people we have on the field. He said, that's not what we want to do. Why not? See, that's the problem with that is that feeds into the narrative of the injuries and all this stuff. Yeah, injuries play a role.
Right.
But they didn't hand the Chiefs the game with injuries. Why show up?
Exactly.
Why did Dodson not? Dodson didn't look hobbled. Dodson looked fine. He was flying all over the place. Yeah, he got hurt in the game. Rasul Douglas, liability. How many snaps did Kyrie Elam get on defense?
Exactly. He shouldn't have been
0.
out there. He shouldn't have been out there.
He got none.
For all the times that they were trying to play man coverage, you know who they should have had out there.
Kyrie Elam. I mean, Who was it? Was it Mecole Hardman? Was it Valdez Scantling's long ball?
Mm-hmm.
Who was that on? Was that on Dane Jackson or was that on?
That was on Taron Johnson.
Taron Johnson. Okay, but the thing, you fooled me once, but you fooled me twice.
Right.
You fooled me 3 times.
Right.
This is ridiculous. I mean, it's really frustrating when the Bills fan base sits out there making noise for a team that doesn't make noise for them.
What it really quick, Lindsay, what's going on? As you can tell, we bummed too.
Lindsay, hey, how you doing?
Outside looking in says McDermott is playoff caliber football versus Super Bowl caliber football.
Exactly.
Like, yo, you get
exactly.
it. You get it.
Exactly.
You that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that we're talking about right now, and hopefully everybody who's on this boat of, well, who you going to place Sean McDermott with, like you said, hopefully this is what they see. This is what they need to see and what they need to hear.
Mm-hmm.
They would rather stick with playoff caliber football so that they can have a little tingly feel good feeling whenever they're in that bracket of whoever made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel like they can have a little hope just because they made the playoffs
mm-hmm.
versus the feeling that a 49ers team has, or the feeling that a Ravens team has, or, oh, by the way, a feeling that a Chiefs team may have.
Did you notice yesterday that we played at home yesterday? I think, right? We were at home yesterday.
I think so.
I think.
It didn't sound loud enough to me.
Well, in the beginning,
if anybody was at the game, please let me. Like, it didn't sound as loud as that Ravens game did to me.
Well, when Mahomes got on the field, it was loud. But quickly, Mahomes came out there, was decisive. He was surgical. He didn't care. F your sounds. F all this stuff. I've been here before. I played in the Super Bowl.
Right.
What, 3 times? 4 times? I've been there. You ain't this is nothing for me. Right. Make your team beat me. You see what he said in his post game speech?
Mm-mm.
You hear it? Oh, he said what did he say? He said they got what they asked for. He said they asked for this and they got what they asked for. That's what he said to his team. The punching bag. It's so bad that my girlfriend, do you know how T is? She couldn't even say nothing.
For real?
She couldn't even say nothing. She was so dejected.
Wow.
That's how you know it's real. See, the thing, who was it that said about the playoffs? What was the name? Do you see it?
Outside looking in.
Outside looking in. The thing about that is, with Josh Allen, with James Cook, with Dalton Kincaid, with Stephon Diggs, and all these guys we have on it, the playoffs is a formality at this point. It should be. I shouldn't be getting nervous in the divisional round.
Exactly.
We should have been ready to look at the Ravens. We should have been ready to look at who might make it on the NFC. But instead, we're here talking about what do we have to do to be the Kansas City Chiefs that people swear, they swear we had nothing to worry about. They swear that team was they were. Mahomes was playing his worst football this year. The Chiefs are they had injuries. Mm-hmm. I swear they had injuries in the game. Did Trent McDuffie not go out? Did Willie Gay not go? Yeah.
Wow.
Did Willie Gay not go out?
But Willie Gay, yeah. Willie Gay went out. That should have made a much bigger impact than it did. And that's the one thing that frustrates the life out of me is you got a guy in Willie Gay who is their fastest coverage linebacker, their best coverage linebacker, right? And to me, once you see that guy go out, you know 2 things. A, they can't stop Josh Allen from scrambling now. Right. And B, they can't stop Dalton Kincaid from running his routes inside.
Right.
Right? How in the world, like, who is Tranquil? Who is Tranquil? Because the second Tranquil came in, it was like they did everything they could to stay away from him. He was making plays all over the field.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Drew Tranquil is he's their version of Ty Dodson, I guess. I don't know. But, I mean, the thing is, I'm not even laughing at anything in particular. I'm just laughing because
Lindsay writes in right on outside. She's talking to outside looking in. She said this has similar parallels of Tony Dungy and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the late 90s, early 2000s when he couldn't beat Andy Reid with the Eagles.
Yep.
Listen.
And Sean McDermott better start calling Andy Reid his dad.
That's exactly what I texted last night. Last night I said it. I said Sean McDermott ain't been able to beat his daddy in 3 different times. Like,
yeah, no.
It's not gonna happen. Like that's the one thing. If there's anybody seeing this video at any point in time throughout this offseason, please ask Pagula, if it wasn't now, when does he think Sean is going to be able to beat Andy Reid? Because that's fine. When is Sean going to beat Andy Reid? When? Like, Mahomes, the style of football that he plays, we don't have to worry about his window closing as fast as Josh Allen's window might close.
No, because it's not a physical game.
Exactly. Josh Allen is a physical. He's a linebacker playing quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. So he needs his physicality. He needs his athleticism to be as dominant as he is. Mahomes doesn't need that, right? Mahomes is more finesse than anything else, right? So from that standpoint, Mahomes' style of play is going to project out a little bit longer than Josh's might. I liken his style of play to a Ben Roethlisberger. I don't want to see that happen to Josh. No. But if it does have to happen that way, it might not, but if it does have to happen the way that Ben Roethlisberger's career went, I want to be able to say we won one. Give me the one that he won. Give me the one. I'll take that all day long. But no, we got to worry about not just one team now. Three. It was
going nowhere. Burrow ain't going nowhere. Mahomes ain't going nowhere.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what I was getting at when I said.
And now Herbert is about to get a coach that's about to help him. Come on, man.
That's kind of what I was getting at when I said last week that, why I didn't want to get to the Baltimore game and lose, because I didn't want to get beat by another team. We've already gotten owned by the Chiefs. We've already gotten owned by the Bengals. I don't want another team to come in that we used to beat and they got better. Because what happens if you lose to the Ravens is this. You look like they got way better, but you stayed the same.
Right.
And I don't want to admit that. I don't want to look in the mirror at myself and say that. We stayed the same. We know it's true. We just painted it differently. It's the same furniture. The same house. We just painted it differently and said, hey, look what we got this new. Never mind the faulty foundation. Never mind the bad plumbing. Never mind the electrical outages. Look what we got.
This nice big old mansion from the 1920s.
Yes.
That ain't been used in 40 years. But we gonna get in here and we gonna throw a new coat of paint on that bad boy.
We're gonna have a party. We're gonna have a party. And that's what we did. And that's what we're gonna keep doing. Because this is the kind of team that all they do is they wanna run it back. Run it back.
And that's what that's the other thing that kills me. And you know what tells me that that's exactly what they want to do? The fact that they didn't hire anybody else in this entire 6-week period of them winning games. You didn't have any kind of foresight whatsoever to think, all these injuries I got on defense, I might want to sign some more linebackers to the practice squad that can learn the system in 6 weeks. 6 weeks should be enough time to pick up a defensive system.
It would have been nice to have Christian Kirksey, wouldn't it?
It would have been nice to have Miles Jack.
You know how I feel about Miles Jack. But, I mean, man, I'm going to keep giggling because I'm going to try my hardest. I'm trying my hardest not to say the wrong thing, but I'm going to tell you right now.
What's the wrong thing at this point, though?
I don't know.
Like, there's nothing wrong that you can say about Sean McDermott or the job he's done at this point.
Yeah.
You just went from 0.4% or something like that of even making the playoffs to doing all this work, all this energy, all this time, all this whatever to getting to this game where you created the pinnacle scenario, the prime scenario that you've been trying to get for the last 5 years since the AFC Championship game. This is what you said after that game. Okay, we need an AFC Championship game in Buffalo, and let's see if there's anything different that happens. No.
Didn't even get to it.
Not a damn thing happens that's different.
Right.
And what it really boils down to is you got a head coach whose little wee-wee shrinks into his body whenever he sees Andy Reid come through the building. That's exactly what happens. You can't tell me it don't no more. You listen. For those of you that want to try to separate this, what happened in this game and say, well, the offensive coordinator is the one who called all the runs and called that. Stop it. Because the whole reason that the offensive coordinator makes a choice to go to a 12 personnel is because the head coach doesn't trust the quarterback. Somebody convince me I'm different. Somebody get on this comment and tell me I'm different. Somebody, please, I'm waiting, okay? Because Nothing about the way that Sean has behaved this year, nothing about the way that they've tried to play offense this year tells me that they have the utmost confidence in Josh Allen to play the way that he did in the last 6 weeks of the season consistently. But he showed you in 6 weeks that he could do it. He showed you in 2 games in the playoffs that he can play perfect football. He can be a dominant player and be Josh freaking Allen, but not make the huge, unnecessary turnovers. Now, granted, he had a fumble, but he was trying to brace his fall. At that point, it's tough to blame Josh for that fumble because the way they're tackling him, if he comes down on the shoulder that he hurt, earlier in the season, that's a much bigger problem than being concerned about where the football is. So I don't even want to get into the minutia of trying to explain that situation. It was what it was.
You mean to tell me that we don't have a quality backup that you'd be okay with if Josh went down?
Huh?
You mean to tell me we don't have a quality backup, a quarterback if Josh went down?
Why even bother with that? Why even bother with a quality? Like it's all like that is a great point though. That's a great point though because if we don't trust Josh, then we got to have somebody ready to stand up just in case, right? Think about it like this. They wanted to start Nathan Peterman over Josh Allen's first year. Mm-hmm. In 2017, that's the way. I'm sorry, 2018. That's the way it was supposed to go. The only reason that Josh Allen
he had a season full of interceptions in the first half.
Right. Sean had to sit there and look at the quarterback he chose.
Here's how old snap.
Give up fingers and toes worth of interceptions in a 4-game span, and then get hurt.
He was like, "Wow, that's tough."
But this was the funny part about it. That was Nathan Peterman's first game of the season that he threw 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
And Sean McDermott's looking at that, his timing was on. He was peaking. He was going to the right areas with the ball. He was focused on throwing the balls in the right places.
Was right. Yeah, he had
Who
the right
gives
read.
a damn about any of that?
He had the right read. But
we got a couple of comments here.
Yes, please. Make me feel better. Comments. Make me feel better.
Forgive me for reading this the wrong way if I do. BozXE says a writer from Buffalo News writes that McDermott set a record yesterday. His team is the first in 32-team era to lose 3 consecutive the divisional round. I think he means playoff games. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
And that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, criminal companies. Welcome to the show. I don't think we've met you before.
Properly met. I'm sorry you meet under these circumstances.
He writes, McDermott was dealing with a lot of injuries the first 4 weeks of the season. When there was no injuries, we were killing people.
Okay. That's
you're
true.
New to the show.
No, okay, that's true. But look at who we were playing against.
Right, we're playing against tomato cans. Like, and then let's stop with that.
But
please.
then let's throw this in the face of that. And I'm not trying to jump on you because this is the conception people have. What do we do in the last 6 games of the season?
Defensively,
we won them. We won.
Right.
So were we not injured? Did Trey White and Milano play those games and then get hurt again, or how'd that work?
Right.
We played with Dodson.
We
played
won
with
more
Spector.
games with the injuries than we did without.
Right. We played with Spector, Dodson, Dane Jackson, Christian Benford, Rasul Douglas. We played with a banged-up Poyer and Hyde. We played with Von Miller. We argued about – well, we didn't argue, but we yelled about Von Miller getting 30 snaps a game and not doing nothing.
Yep.
This is the same team. Daquan Jones was not there. I thought Daquan Jones was the Isaiah Pacheco stopper. What happened to that? You know what? Never mind. We'll talk about defense in a minute. No, never mind. We'll do it now. We'll do it right now because this show has no structure, and I don't care. What is the only 2 units on this team that was healthy?
Defensive line.
And that's
safeties.
the one I wanted.
Yep.
What the hell did they do yesterday?
Not a damn thing.
They hit Pat Mahomes twice. They blitzed twice.
Oh, but that's Patrick Mahomes. Nobody's going to hit him.
They blitzed twice.
Nope.
McDermott said, I'm going to be aggressive 3 times in this press conference, but they blitzed twice. You did not do
But
a
he meant what he said go for it when he was talking to
he meant that. Yeah. Let's hang DeMar Hamlin out to dry.
What's your game plan the rest of the game? Go for it. Okay.
Let's ask DeMar Hamlin when the last time he ran a ball.
Right. He's sitting there like, you mean to tell me
like, yo,
the
what?
Chiefs, even with the Chiefs had 9 players on the field. They had 9 players on the field, and they sitting there watching DeMar play hopscotch back and forth between the formations on the sides. And, like, you don't think to some point that they're thinking to themselves, They
Just get
think
the
we
ball.
don't know that they're gonna
Just
try to
get the
run a
ball.
fake. Like they're at their 30-yard line and they're about to punt the ball, and they got their boy jump roping from side to side, thinking we don't know that a fake is gonna come.
And the thing is, I was on Twitter pretty heavy yesterday. So if you guys don't know, follow me, please, so we can have a kind of dialogue next season because our boys are done for the year. But
let me say this.
Go ahead.
Let me say this real quick to what criminal companies have said.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're not trying to jump on you in particular. We've seen other people have these comments.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to in finality just kind of address the what the conclusion that we've come to on this. When it comes to the injuries. Okay. If you the prime example that I like to give is the defense in the 13 seconds game was actually rated higher that year. I think we were second in the league in defense that year. We were number 2 in the league in defense that year, if not number one. If not number one, we might have been number 1 in some areas, right?
We were astronomical, yeah.
But we had the best defense that Sean McDermott has had to date that year, and we lost that game in 13 seconds. It doesn't matter who you have on the field at times. Sometimes what really matters is the guy with the clipboard. Sometimes what really matters is the guy with the microphone communicating to the guy with the helmet what to do on the field before the snap. I don't know what else we can say. The Bills this year have had the 6th-ranked defense, and they looked worse in this game than they did in the 13 seconds game, right? So the only difference between the two games that we can really look at is Leslie Frazier. So for all those people that want to blame Leslie Frazier for the 13 seconds game, you now see what a playoff game looks like without Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott in his aggressive nature, in which case you said you only saw 2 blitzes.
He blitzed twice.
I don't know what more of an indictment there is on the head coach with injuries, without injuries, whatever, right? Chris, right? Huh?
I was gonna say on the outside looking in, was it, or was this?
For what point?
This was, who were we talking to?
Criminal companies.
Criminal companies. Okay.
Oh, criminal companies. Criminal. CRIMAL. My bad. I've been saying criminal
companies. Okay. Yeah. Let me ask you this: in your opinion, knowing the limitations that your defense has, would you have altered the defense and run more zone concepts? Would you have put more of the onus on the healthy defensive line to get to the quarterback to disrupt some passes? What would you have done differently if you were able to make the shot and call the shots on that? And I mean, I'm not going to wait for your comment. I hope you do know.
Can I answer that? Because I actually had a really strong game plan.
Well, it didn't work.
Go ahead.
No, you can.
So this was my thought. I was thinking about this earlier today. If I wanted to go back and replay that game with the players that I had, easily, my defensive line looks like Greg Rousseau, Leonard Floyd, DQ, Oliver, and then on third downs, I'm going to have Von Miller out there on the field playing man spy. What that gives you is the second you see the pocket start collapsing and you see Mahomes starting to try to peek through the middle, which he always does. Mm-hmm. His offensive line always gives him that middle aisle or that middle gap to run through, right? You can have Von Miller go and start to have like a kind of a delayed rush to push that center or push that middle right back into Mahomes and force him to run towards one of those defensive ends. Because the defensive ends are always going to get blocked wide. They're going to get blocked way off the back of Mahomes, right? And so at that point, what you have to worry about if you're Oliver or DQ is you have to worry about the B gaps. Okay, cool. Y'all go ahead and y'all cover the B gaps. I got Von Miller to start pressing that A gap, either side, right? I think him going against their center with his speed and his ability to get around blocks is an ideal situation for us, right? he's got enough speed to cover for a short period of time. So if you're playing zone, he can sit right in the middle and just keep his eyes on anything coming. He don't have to worry about following people who come into his zone or nothing like that. That's what you got. Saran Neal, you can have Saran Neal play man on Kelsey and have everybody else play zone, right? But that's the way that I fix the deficit of players that I have. You have to come up with schematic things like that are different to A, put pressure on Mahomes, and B, put your players in a position to be successful. We didn't have enough people to play man coverage last night. So stop that. Take all of that out of the unless you're going to put Kyer Elam on the field, which you're not.
Yeah, I don't understand
right?
at all.
So if that's the case, then play zone. Do what you do best.
Yeah.
Put your players in a position to be successful. You got 5-6 passes. Epinesa, like you have guys that can rush the passer. Your defensive line was your best asset yesterday, and you didn't use barely any of those guys to your advantage.
You got nothing with that. That D line, it was criminal because you think about who was behind him, AJ Klein, and let's not act like the Chiefs blew us out, because what if I was to tell you that Mahomes was going to throw for what did you throw, 210, 215?
Yep.
Kelsey had 83 yards.
Let me see if I can get that. Hold on a second.
He had 6 catches for 83 yards. I actually wrote it down. I didn't even feel like looking it up because it's just asinine, the numbers that they had.
All right, so excuse me. Kelsey had 5 catches for 75 yards.
75 yards. He had 83 yards in the last game we played where we won.
Mm-hmm.
Rasheed Rice. What did Rasheed Rice have?
4 catches, 47 yards.
Right. And what about MVS?
MVS had 2 catches, 62 yards.
Right. So who killed us?
Kelsey.
Did he kill us though?
I mean, yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. Like,
yeah,
So what is the injury excuse about?
Right.
They held him down.
Right.
They held him. They didn't stop Pacheco, which is what our defensive line is supposed to do.
Yep.
Which was healthy. AJ Klein, Tyrell Dodson, aren't they known for their run stopping abilities? Where were they? Mm-hmm. Do not tell me Kelsey took the whole back 7 out of this. He didn't. Rasheed Rice did not. What was the game plan against Isaiah Pacheco? Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets in there after Pacheco gets hurt. Gets in there, he busts off a 28-yarder. How? He's not fast. He's Devin Singletary. How?
Yep.
But the injuries did it. How? I mean, I just want somebody. How? What am I missing?
So this might be fun. And yeah, Chris, you know what? I got to give it to you. You did say that. He said, I told y'all I was nervous. I told y'all I was nervous.
Chris, I was with you. I was with you, Chris. Nope, I was with you.
You were. I'm going to give y'all both credit. Y'all did say it. I thought this would be a different year based on what I saw from the Bills. I tried to give Sean the benefit of the doubt. Rich, this is what I get for giving Sean the benefit of the doubt. I just want you to know this is what I get for trying to be on your side. That's over with.
You know what's hilarious, though? My mom said she ran back the last show to see what I said. She's like, that's what you said. She said, and
exactly
that's almost a score I said.
Yep.
If they would have scored one more point and one more touchdown, it would have been 31-28.
Rich does bring up an interesting conversation. He said, we need to have a talk about Diggs and see what we should do with him.
Had this been, you know what, Drewski, Rich, anybody else, had this been last week, I would have got on you. But now I got nothing.
Wow,
I got nothing.
Really?
Because there's something with this offense that is not jiving. There's something with offense. And you know that Von Miller, Ed Oliver, Stephon Diggs would not talk to me after the game yesterday. Stephon Diggs deleted his Twitter account. Damar Hamlin has turned off comments on his Instagram account. Tyler Bass he deactivated his. Is it that serious? Is it that serious? Should we have come down to that kick? Should it have come down to that kick?
I think the players know that it shouldn't have. And here we've talked about this very early on in the season, and I think for the most part we talked about this in the offseason.
Yeah.
The players know when they have a bad game plan.
Mm-hmm.
The players know when, or let me say it this way, the players can tell when their head coach is playing not to lose versus when their head coach is playing to win.
Right.
Right? to me, this game screamed of playing not to lose. And when you see the way that Stephon Diggs was used in the game, when you see the way that Stephon Diggs has been used in the last 6 weeks that they've been winning.
Stephon Diggs has had 2 games we're talking about, and 1 touchdown since Dorsey's who do we have? Brady's taken over.
Yeah.
1 touchdown. He had 8 this season. He had 7 in the first 9 weeks of the season. 1 touchdown after that. How do you explain that? I mean, his targets went way down. He's a volume guy. But the Chiefs, I will say, I did research. The last game and this game were his 2 worst catch ratings. Against the Chiefs in the regular season, he had 4 catches on 11 targets. This one, 3 catches on 8 targets. And it wasn't even Snead. Snead didn't watch him 1 time yesterday.
Really?
Didn't watch him 1 time yesterday. I went to look at it.
They just let him do whatever.
Yeah, they had Snead just on his side, and Diggs was not.
What does that say? What does that say when Steve Spagnuolo looks at your tape and says,
"We good.
You ain't got to worry about following him around."
Right.
They ain't even looking at him. If they ain't looking at him, we shouldn't even bother with it.
And the worst part about this, even further, Snead has the highest travel rate in the league.
Yep.
So against the Bills, take the night off. You go ahead and take whoever's on the sure field.
Right.
Basically, take the night off.
Yeah.
Everybody, we needed Gabe Davis. What did Gabe Davis do the last time he played Kansas City? You want to look it up? You want me to tell you? 2 targets, zippo.
Yep.
L0. I don't care about the 4-catch game. I don't care about it didn't happen this year. Like you said, what did you say about us looking at the Chiefs and being afraid? History.
Mm-hmm.
The past. That's what everybody's looking at. Gabe didn't do jack this year, and you're going to have the audacity to say, I'm going to go to free agency. Are you willing to come back to Buffalo? We're not willing to have you anymore. Your time here is done.
Right. He said, I want to explore free agency.
Man, explore.
We already made that decision.
Right. We didn't talk to you on purpose. We knew what we were doing. You didn't know what we were doing.
Right. Did you get any text from us?
Right.
Like at all? No.
Anything.
No.
Did you notice your letters are written in Sharpie on your locker?
We're a little behind on the comments here.
Go ahead. I like comments.
Chris writes in, I'm tired of maybe of the maybe next year.
Preaching, brother.
We end our curse. Yeah.
Preaching, brother.
I mean, that to me that has been the thing that has ailed this team since Sean has got here is maybe next year. Trust the process. We got so hypnotized and so spun around with all of Sean McDermott's lingo because let's face it, the only thing that Sean McDermott brought here was discipline.
Yeah.
He didn't bring a game plan. He didn't bring a talent. He didn't bring an ability. He didn't bring anything else other than discipline.
Yeah.
That's the only, think about it like this. That's the only thing Rex Ryan needed to do the same exact thing that Sean McDermott is doing.
It was the same team. All you had to do was change his
That's
method.
it. All you needed to do at that point was just sprinkle a little discipline on the whole thing, and the whole taste is different.
Change. And the funny thing about it is Rex Ryan had so much talent because he was cutting people that actually won other teams that won Super Bowls. Nigel Bradham.
Right.
Ron Darby. He cut them. But then McDermott then takes that same team, the leftovers, and adds a couple of scrubs from Carolina, as you remember, and goes to the playoffs. Gets them out by the Jacksonville Jaguars, but as you remember, we made it to the playoffs. And he broke the curse or the drought. All hail McDermott. He knew he's very methodical.
Zach Taylor broke the drought.
Yeah. Andy Dalton. I didn't do it because
was it Zach Taylor?
I don't even know. It was Andy Dalton, Andy Dalton to
whoever the head coach there was.
Yeah.
When Andy Dalton
I don't even know. I mean, you would be better than me at that.
All right. Let's see. Lindsay wrote in after. Wait. No, I'm sorry. I'm behind. So Chris writes in. Diggs press conference. No comments. No nothing. Yeah. I mean, when you go through a season like this, where before the season you have issues with the head coach, during the season, you start off hot. It seems like they're kind of trying to pacify you a little bit, and it works because everybody started talking about, welcome back, Steph, and blah blah blah, and then it turns into a complete offensive change, which was one of the issues that Diggs had in the first place. Is why the heck are we going to a 12? Right? So they appease Diggs in the 12, and then after they come out of the 12 and get back into, concepts that Diggs was eating in before, now Diggs couldn't get the ball to save his life. Numbers way down. Touchdowns way down. Catches way down.
He had a run yesterday.
Right.
The first run of the season for him. What was that?
That's a Deontay Hardy play, not a Steph Diggs play.
Where was Hardy?
You know what that is? That's okay, Diggs, you want the ball? Fine.
Here, have this.
You gonna earn it now.
Josh, you didn't catch the ball. Josh tried to take your head off twice, but have this.
I will say this. Mac has entered the building. Yes. I will say this. For everything that Diggs has said throughout the season, his whole entire season comes down to one play for me. And that's the drop he had in that really, really deep pass. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen put that exactly where it was supposed to be. Yeah. Outside shoulder, away from the defender. And what does Diggs do? Right through the arms. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Diggs. Like, to me, that takes away every little bit and piece of argument that you had of why you need to be the focus of this team. It takes it all away. That's the biggest moment on the biggest stage that this team has had in 5 years, and you're one of the reasons they don't make a play that day. Mm-hmm. You're one of the reasons they don't get the dub that day. Mm-hmm. And don't give me this, they didn't get you the ball earlier in the game. You had the ball in your hands a few times.
You got the first 2 passes to him.
Right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they didn't include you in the game to get you going and get you focused, right? That was your time to shine. If you wanted any reason whatsoever to have Bills Mafia and Bills Nation and the viewers of this show to be on your side and going against the team or whoever else want to say that you wasn't worth the money, you wasn't worth the draft pick, and you wasn't worth the time and energy to make sure that you got the ball on a regular basis, this was your time to do that. Mm-hmm. But you didn't. Yeah. That's just the bottom line of that one. Right?
I'm not all the way there, but I'm not where I was before. Like I said before when we talked about Stephon Diggs, and that's my favorite player on the team. He is. He's always going to be my favorite player on the team as long as he's here, I believe. Either him or James Cook. But if you look at what they've been doing with Steph Diggs, he's kind of replaceable. And you look at Steph Diggs also. Steph Diggs is he's just a guy in his offense. That's why I say – at this point in time, if you would have got me last week with that comment, I forget what he said earlier, but if you would have got me with the comment about Steph Diggs, what are we going to do with him? I think it was Rich. What are we going to do with Steph Diggs? I would have laughed in your face and said, blasphemy. But now, I got nothing for you because I'm lost. We know what the guy can do. We know what kind of talent Steph Diggs has. We know what kind of talent that Steph Diggs commands around him. We know what kind of attention he gets on the field. But it's all for nothing when you're looking at a team that can't hit their number one receiver. You got a number 3 receiver now coming up and emerging as your number 1. The whole offense is confusing to me. It really is. What's up, Mac?
What's going on?
You got good sound on that?
Yeah, he's coming through fine.
Okay. So, Mac, okay, me and A were talking about it. So first and foremost, what did it sound like at the game?
That was probably the loudest game that I've been to.
That's what I thought.
Probably the loudest game that I've been to.
I figured as much.
Despite the cold weather and all that, it was still loud. You know how when they first get the opposite team first take the field, and they put up the decibels and they get loud.
They did it?
That joint was over 104. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the highest that I've ever seen it at the stadium. So it was definitely live.
Yeah. What was the atmosphere like? Did you go into the stadium thinking we got this in the bag, or did you have any kind of okay, maybe this is getting real? We got Mahomes here, we got Kelsey, we got these boys out here.
So I did not think that it was a no-brainer or this is an easy win. We got in the bag, but I was confident that we was going to win that game. The crowd was live. Everybody was mad people there. They was, getting in there, yelling. What I was surprised that I didn't see a lot of Kansas City fans. I saw a couple, but not a lot.
They were scattered in, yeah.
Versus the Pittsburgh fans, it was a lot of Pittsburgh fans. I didn't see a lot of KC fans at all.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised at that. But the atmosphere was good. Even during the game, man. Like everybody was up, cheering, having fun. Like it was a good atmosphere, man. It really was.
Yeah, I was gonna say Pittsburgh and Cleveland. You're gonna see a lot of their fans here. New England, you'll see a lot of their fans, but just the fact Kansas City is way over there.
Yeah,
and they probably couldn't get tickets too because I'm
true.
telling you, that's what we talked about before. Friday's show. I said, with the shoveling, you're like they gave away tickets. They ain't giving no tickets to this one. Ain't nothing to give. Ain't nobody getting no tickets for this one because it was a long time coming.
Yeah,
and everybody was pumped up, and it was just kind of a letdown to see how they ended up.
Yeah, Bruce Smith. He had my heart pounding, man.
Why?
Bruce was not playing. You know how they had the guests to hype up the fans? Bruce came in there. He was the best so far. He came in there. He was like, listen. He was like, we going to show Pat Mahomes and Taylor Swift, like, how Buffalo do. Like, every time you see Pat Mahomes on the field, like, you need to yell your loudest. Like, we need to let them know that we here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, he had everybody hyped, man. Like, Bruce was hyped, man, when he came in there. He had his little shiny little black jacket on, man. He was hyped.
No, that jacket wasn't tiny.
He was hyped.
It wasn't tiny. Bruce is just big. Nah, Bruce, he actually slimmed out, so, yeah. But, no. And like you said, it's I can't believe Bruce was hyped because his demeanor is just like he's a calm dude.
That's why it was shocking. I'm like, dang, Bruce is like into this. Like he ready, man.
Yeah. So what did you enjoy most about the game itself?
Probably the atmosphere with the fans.
Mm-hmm.
But then it got to a low point after. Not even the game, just with the fans, man. I was kind of disappointed in Bills Mafia, man.
Why?
These dudes started fighting, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But like,
at least they wasn't shooting.
I've been. This is what, my 3rd year season ticket holder. I've never seen it like that though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen like little skirts and scrums and stuff like that, but not like it was like 2 rows in front of me, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 different fights. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, I was before. I can tell you before, and I wish Gordon was here or was on the horn to tell you, but every time we went, we saw security getting tossed up. Security about to get tossed over the rail. We saw, we've seen people get punched. We've seen fights. It's like at that point, it's like I don't even want to go. We sat in a rock pile at one point the first time we went, and this dude wore his Ray Lewis jersey to a Baltimore Ravens game, and they weren't trying to let us through. But I mean, I guess it's all it can all be in fun.
Yeah.
When some people take it too far.
And that's what it was, man. They took it way too far.
Mm-hmm.
And on compounded, like this all happened like on that last drive.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we was driving down and then he missed the field goal. Then it just like that was like culminating to like, all right, screw it. We lost. I'm mad. I'm throwing blows.
Right.
Like, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I felt like Bills Mafia, we should have did better, man. Like we don't fight each other, man.
It was Bills fans fighting Bills fans?
Yeah.
Oh, snap. I was thinking, okay, they were drunk.
Yeah.
But no, I you know what? I was telling A before you came in, I said, how T is. She ain't even talking mess. That's how mad. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Like she knew it was real, and I was just silent.
And then all them other fans, listen, man. All the other fans who the non-Bills fans, the haters pretty much. I'm talking to all the haters.
The haters
who was silent when we was winning.
Mm-hmm.
When we went them 7 games in a row, nothing, crickets. The minute we lose, how about them Bills? How many Super Bowls y'all got? Blah, blah, blah. Like, you can't have it both ways. Like, if you want to talk about us while we winning, and talk about us while we losing. You just can't pick and choose. Like, when they win it, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just going to be quiet.
Right.
But now they lose. I got you now. You lost.
Right,
like,
I was waiting.
Get out of here, man. Get out of here.
See, things like that don't bother me because I feel like, for me, we got to walk it like we talk it. Like, the target's on our back. Everybody's waiting for us to screw up. Because that's all we're known as around the nation is the screw-ups.
Yeah.
And they just waiting. They're like, the Bills, 6 in a row? Yeah, just wait.
Yeah.
You saw Nick Wright when Gordon sent me the Instagram Nick Wright watching the end of the game. And, like, he was stressed. He's like, this bum is going to miss it. He's going to miss it. He's missed 2 of them in the last game. He's going to miss it. And I told you he was going to miss it. And, see, they just waiting. I mean, they waiting on our demise every time. But that's the anger and the hunger and the feeling that the Bills need to take into the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we started off emotional, so we didn't get through any kind of rubric to anything. We just started talking. But the first thing I had on my notes was, it's time to shake Ish up. It's time. I mean, A won't believe, that's why he doesn't have a mic right now. But I don't care if McDermott was here as an overseer or not. Yeah. It's time for some real offensive coordination to come about. Some defensive. I don't want McDermott without, I told you last time, without a defensive coordinator, I don't want him. Yeah. I needed a special teams coordinator. Yeah. And it's time. I don't want continuity. Yeah. I don't want any continuity because continuity got us what? What I read off before. It got us a wild card, no playoff berth, divisional, conference finals, divisional, and then look at us. Yeah. The same place all over again. Continuity. Yeah. Josh Allen, he's got my vote. I don't care. Win one for him. Yeah. Win one for Brady. You know, all the defensive players talking about, oh, McDermott's got my vote. We're with him. Yeah. You ain't with us, then just let me know where we stand.
Right. Or if you would him, why you ain't play harder? Like, I don't know. Like, to me, like, I still think the Lions was going, like, I don't know, man. When them boys play, them Lions, they all is, like, to me, they playing for Campbell, man.
Dude, Dan Campbell, he bleeds Lions.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, I hear it. Yeah, you with McDermott, but, like, you got to show it, bro. Like, if you with him, show me. Show me you with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, after, you know, I'm not the emotional type. Like, once the emotions left for the Bills game, like, yes, I was angry. Yes, I was upset. Yes, I was disappointed. But once the emotions left, you know, and I had a calm, cool head to look at it and evaluate the game, you know, I'm not the type to make excuses. I don't do excuses. So, like, I've heard people complain about the ref calls, complain about this or complain about that, complain about Hockley, oh, he missed some calls or he screwed us, or they complain about the punt, the fake punt, or they complain about this. Like, a lot of those things you could be upset about. I get it. But it didn't cost us any points, and it didn't lose us any points.
Can we
so at the end of the day, it's irrelevant to me.
Yeah, can we talk about Hockley for a second?
Oh, boy. Here we go.
I just don't want to hear anything about it. I mean, I didn't hear it. I'm glad. I don't want to hear anything about Hockley.
You were the one that gave us the stat.
He didn't screw us.
What? How?
How did he?
We had more penalties against our team than anybody else in the game.
We have 5 penalties. You telling me the Dalton Kincaid wasn't a penalty? Where he batted the ball out of bounds? That's a penalty. Where Rasul Douglas got the pass interference on whoever it was, he grabbed him by the neck and twisted him. That's a penalty.
Okay, hold on. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that the calls that they made didn't happen. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, you gave a stat before the game of Hockley. The Bills are 1-3 in games that Hockley officiated. Mm-hmm. Like
1-4 now.
Right, 1-4 now. Mm-hmm. Right. So what that tells me is there's a little bit of a slant. Mm. Like I could see if it was like the Bills are 2-3.
Right.
But when you're 1-3.
Well, okay. All right. Let's back that up some.
I mean, to me that says there's something else going on there.
Did Hockley influence the game in a major way? Did he lose us the game? Any pivotal moment?
Nope.
Not at all.
I think the okay, I'll put it like this. Tony Romo even commented on the Dorian Williams play where he.
That was a bad one. Yeah, that was a bad one.
That's all I need.
But
to me, if there's one, there was probably more.
But to me, there was two bad calls.
What's the other one?
That one and the missed targeting on Stephon Diggs.
Yes,
the first one where the guy got hit.
Exactly.
So if you look at that play again, he hit him head first.
I wouldn't call it targeting, though.
That is targeting because the last game they called it in our favor when they tried to hit, was it Knox? They hit somebody and it was targeting. Like he literally was defenseless and he banged him right in the Shakir. So how you going to call it for Shakir and not call it for Stephon Diggs?
Honestly, I wouldn't call it that because he didn't launch. The other one he launched and he didn't. This is I get what you're saying.
But the rule definition is if you go for the helmet. He went for the helmet. That was the first thing that hit was the helmet.
Yeah, but he was already in his dive. That's the problem. He was already. You can't. No, the rule also dictates you can't be in your dive already. You have to launch at the guy. I think you can't. God, it's in the rules.
I get that. But rules are meant to be interpreted, right? And we've seen instances where guys go in with the shoulder. They lean and lead with the shoulder.
And hit him in the head.
And consequently, like almost accidentally, touch helmets with the guy.
Because the offensive guy put his head down
as
he's charging in, and he wind up mishitting. And
that's
he hit
not the defender's fault.
Yeah,
right.
But that gets called as targeting.
I don't think that's what happened on.
I'm not saying that's exactly what happened. But what I'm saying is, it's like you're saying it as if it's a black and white rule.
No, it's not black and white. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying in that regard, I don't think that was targeting. If I was reffing that one, I wouldn't call it a target. I could be wrong. I'm not going to argue it.
Okay. Well, I mean, you got two people here.
I would say out of the whole game, those are two bad calls that he missed. However, like I said the first time, my first point, it didn't cost us any points. It didn't gain us any points.
It didn't.
To me, it's irrelevant.
Right. I don't
like it, but
I don't know if you could say that. Because you have to think about it like this. Momentum is a real thing within the game and within the game of football itself, right? And what I mean by that is if we get that targeting play, that's a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that was on a second down that ended up putting us on at 3rd and long, right? So if we get that first down, that's yardage, that's field position. Like there's a lot of I just don't want to lose. And to me, this is really the crux of the matter when it comes to Sean McDermott. I don't want to lose the possibilities of what could have gone right had we got that call versus what might have gone wrong without the call or what might have gone wrong with the call. I think to me that's been the biggest thing that Sean McDermott's entire career, of people saying, well, thank God we have Sean McDermott to break the drought and all that kind of stuff because, before that we had nothing and now we have consistent success. Well, that depends on how you define consistent success, right? We were talking about earlier on the show. I don't know if you caught it. One of our comments from a great newcomer, Crime Companies. He said McDermott was dealing with. No, I'm sorry, that's not it. Somebody said, it was Outside Looking In. He said McDermott is playoff caliber football versus Super Bowl caliber football. I wanted to get your thoughts on that real quick because to me, and we talked about this, but my mindset is that's exactly how you frame Sean McDermott's tenure as Bills head coach over these years. Is he's playoff caliber, but he's not Super Bowl caliber, and every time he's gone against Super Bowl caliber, he's falling short. What you got to say?
So. Statistically, I can't argue with that because statistically, that's what we have shown, right? He gets us in the playoffs. But you can count on him getting to the playoffs. Since he's been the Bills head coach, we missed it one time, and the one time was Josh Rookie's year. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're going to get there, but like you said, when we get there, why is it always something where we can never get over the hump? You know what I'm saying? And two, the level of play to me was off on all three sides, special teams, defense, and offense. They just seemed they wasn't in sync. I don't know what it was, and I mean, I could say that he's playoff caliber, but he hasn't figured out how to. I don't know if it's his emotions getting away, or if he's excited, or if he's nervous, or if he's anxious because it's a big game, and he knows. This game I was looking at before the game, this was a legacy game.
Yeah.
For Josh and McDermott.
100%.
Right? You beat the team who, you could beat them during the regular season. We know you can beat them. You've done it many times before. Yep. But when it counts, when it's on the line, why we always come up short? When it's on the line. You know what I'm saying? One other thing I want to talk about, too, real quick, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
I want the NFL to look at this as a rule. I know right now the current rule is if you are in the playoffs, they can't interview for a job. That's the current rule.
Mm-hmm. You gotta get permission.
Yeah, they can get permission.
You gotta get permission. Yeah.
However, the thing that I don't like is they shouldn't even be like Joe Brady. He had an interview hey, we want to interview that. I don't want none of that should be happening until after the playoffs. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm not making excuses, but but being human, think about this. You are an offensive coordinator, right? You have the opportunity to be a head coach, right? So now you're supposed to be concentrating on this playoff game, but now you get word that, hey, we're gonna interview you for a head coaching job once this is over. No matter if you win or if you lose, whatever, we're gonna interview you. To me, if I'm an offensive coordinator and it's something that, especially with something I always wanted to be a head coach, that's in my mind, that's in my head, and it's gonna change how I play this game. Because why? Because they're watching me, right? So either you're gonna be, one or two things can happen. You could be over aggressive or you could be lax because you don't want to mess up because you know you got an interview coming up. What is they going to say? What is they going to pick out? Or if I'm too aggressive, maybe that's going to prevent me from getting this job. So I wish that they wouldn't even contact these dudes until after the playoffs. Like if you're still in the playoffs and you still a team, and whether you're a coordinator, coach, or whatever, no contact whatsoever until after you are out of the playoffs. Because now, to me, it messes with your head. Like I said, I'm not making excuses for him, but I think it definitely played into what we saw on a Sunday.
Man,
I really think it has something to do with it.
Listen, you working a job where, you know, the company ain't been doing so well for 4 years, and everybody walking around, you know, a little miserable, and things ain't been going right the whole year for that franchise or that company or whatever it is, and all of a sudden, you get that miracle phone call.
Yeah.
Somebody call you and say, listen, we've been looking at your resume. We would love to get you in for an interview. What do you think? Everybody taking that phone call, right?
Exactly.
And then as soon as you go for the interview and you get in there and they start telling you, listen, we really like you. We really are thinking about making you the person for this position. We just got to do a few more interviews, and we'll give you a call as soon as we can, let you know what's going on. You leaving out of that bad boy feeling like, man, the second they call me, I'm out this joint, bro. I swear on everything, I'm out of this joint.
Yeah.
Like, everybody goes through that. So you're absolutely right. That has to play a part in that. And here's the other thing, too. The Bills never gave Dayball permission to do any of that stuff when people were trying to interview during the playoffs. Never. Right? And especially in Dayball's last year here, you know there were people who wanted to interview. You knew that was a thing.
Right.
Right? Bills never let it happen. Right? Why did they let it happen now? What's the difference?
Right.
Like, either Sean knows he's on his way out, and this was just the last-ditch effort to try and throw something together to save his job, or he really feels secure in his position, you know, based on his meetings with Pagula, and feels like he's going to get next year and the year after that, which is what his extension gives him, to try and do something with that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
To me, I don't even understand why the extension comes this year with everything that's happened. I need to be in on these meetings to understand what kind of sell job Sean McDermott is doing. He's got to be the best salesman ever. Ever. Right? Real quick, Lindsay writes in, I was surprised we got that touchback call in our favor. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was surprised too, mostly because of the other calls that came before that, with, you know, the Dorian Williams call and the targeting not being called. Those are the two main ones that I saw that kind of, you know, swayed me and started to get me to think, okay, the refs know who they want to win this game, right? And I think with what we've seen now with the Kadarius Toney call, and you know how often that got called before that game, I think the league knew that was a pivotal game for the Buffalo Bills. I think the league got exactly what they wanted, which was another rematch between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes for the playoffs, right? So that they can try and recapture the 13 seconds game. And they still got, I looked it up earlier today. They had an average of 39.1 million viewers from 7 p.m. on Sunday to 10 p.m. on Sunday.
That's a big sell, Bills Chiefs.
They got what they wanted.
That's a big sell.
Right? Now, as a fan of the Bills, as a supporter of the Bills, we have to be feeling jobbed by that. We got to be feeling some kind of way about that, because if I'm connecting dots, that says to me the narrative was never really about the Bills, you know, making it to the Super Bowl. It was the Bills being set up for the slaughter.
Right. We need you for ratings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Y'all got the Josh Allen show. We need that in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because we ain't got Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Right? And your boy Lamar Jackson taking a week off, so we ain't gonna see him either. So you the best thing we got for 2 weeks. Now it's Lamar Jackson time to shine.
Now I'm curious to see what ratings did the Tampa Bay and Detroit Lions get.
Man, let's find out right now. Let's find out right now.
Really higher, like significantly higher, then that tells me something, man.
I mean,
as far as market size.
Game too,
Yeah.
I would definitely think ours is higher.
And then too, somebody mentioned, well, of course, after the game,
Slightly higher,
Slightly higher.
40.4 million.
okay,
So about the same.
Yeah, I would definitely have thought that ours was a good bit higher.
yeah. Now I don't know if this is conspiracy or what, but somebody mentioned like kind of what A was reference to, like it was never about y'all, it was about the Chiefs, because who since week 1, who's been tied to the Chiefs to the Chiefs? Taylor Swift, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now who's tied to the Lions?
Who?
Eminem.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm not saying it's true, but I just saw the point out, and it got me thinking.
About?
Well,
So-
it's a marketing job. It's you're trying to be. They realized the amount of attention that they were getting, from having Taylor Swift attend games.
I get that, but what's Eminem tie-in? Is he?
Well, he's
is he
from
drop an
Detroit.
album
He's from
or something?
Detroit.
Huh?
I know
No,
that he dropped an album, so why is he relevant
Nah.
now?
No, because he's now, since the Lions been good.
Well, he's always been a Lions fan, but
He's been in the booths.
Yeah.
He's been in the skybox, just like Taylor Swift.
Yep.
He's out every game. People's shouting him out. You know, he made the message to Matt Stafford, like, yo, listen, when you was, I made a song for you. Like, you owe us one. Like you got to give us one. Like, all the headline is now is Eminem and Taylor Swift.
I mean that's absolutely right when you look at it.
And also in it too, like I said, I'm not Mafia. I'm not saying this is true. I'm not saying I believe it or don't believe it, but I'm just saying it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the logo, right? Everybody said, "Oh, it's red and purple," right? The NFL knows that we know that now.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw him came up with another logo.
Yeah, it was red and blue.
Peep this. How do you get purple?
Red and blue.
Red and blue. Chiefs and Lions. So like,
Oh.
bro, like, I don't know.
Or you could just go purple with my boys now, Mr. Lamar Jackson.
You could, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking. So all right. So what's the big story with Lamar? He's already been MVP before.
What's his
That's
story?
not nothing new.
I don't even want to know anymore because this is conspiracy bullcrap is getting on my nerves.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, nobody really wants to accept that any of this stuff is real, because what it does is it muddies the waters for something that we all grew up thinking was a very genuine thing and a very honest thing, which is people's competitive nature stepping into a playing field where everything is supposed to be fair and even because you have referees making sure that it's going to be that way. Right. And what we found out now, especially in America, is that like everything else America has perverted in terms of the economy and all that kind of stuff. Sports are just as perverted. It's the NFL is a business. It is an enterprise first before anything else. Right. The NFL logo itself is the company. The teams are the individual franchises. That's why they have separate owners. If you look at the way this business is structured, it's structured like any other Fortune 500 company that has a bunch of subsidiaries, okay? If y'all really know business and y'all understand what I'm talking about, you'll see it clearly. That's exactly what we're looking at in the NFL. And when it comes to a Fortune 500 company, they are willing to do whatever it takes for what? The bottom dollar.
Yep.
Right? If there's a player kneeling, we can't have that. We'll change the rules. Right? Something as stupid as Josh Allen not getting a turn at the end of the game. They changed the rules for that.
We can't have that.
Nah, because we need the ratings to go up a little bit higher. People were pissed off. They wanted to see more. It's the equivalent of back in the days at the Roman Coliseum, people not getting to see a head cut off, so they complain and all right, we'll allow heads to be cut off now. Relax.
More weapons in the Coliseum.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of that rule change for Josh Allen and teams in the playoffs now getting a turn. Like, it's the dumbest thing in the world, but it's a reality that we live in and we have to face. Right? So let me ask y'all this because we're running short on time. This iteration of the Buffalo Bills, does the team survive? I'll ask it this way. If Sean McDermott is fired, does the team survive the next head coach.
What do you mean?
When you say survive, you mean
how many players are staying? Like this. So my premise is this. My premise is, and this is what brought my thought on. Looking at what the Bills were supposed to be this entire time. They were supposed to be a Super Bowl caliber team. And every single time that we've gone up against teams that have played in the Super Bowl, been to a Super Bowl and lost, or whatever, we've seen that, A, there's a talent deficiency in comparison. B, there's a coaching deficiency in comparison. And C, there is a team structure deficiency in terms of, where the money is allocated and the return on investments and stuff like that, right? So my question is, let's say Sean does get the axe. Will we tolerate the plate being scraped, or would we fight to keep as many of these players as we can? And what I'm trying to gauge with this is, what's the reality perspective right now? Where are we on the players themselves?
So one of the things that I feel bad for is Poyer and Hyde, because to me, since I've been watching the Bills since I was a kid, this is one of the best safety tandems I've ever seen on the Buffalo Bills team. And the fact that they won't get a Super Bowl together, it kind of makes me mad, because they worked so hard. They were so good as a duo and as a team, but they won't get the fruits of their labor because whatever reason, they can't win the big one. So I think a lot of those players are going to leave. And with a new head coach, 9 times out of 10, he's going to build a team on the players that he wants and the people that he wants to be in the coaching room with. Now, there's a couple players that I think won't go anywhere, like Elam, because he's still young, he's still fresh, and it seems like McDermott don't like him, so maybe the new coach will.
Yeah, he got rebirth.
You know what I'm saying? Josh Allen, he's not going anywhere for any time soon. Diggs may leave. A couple of defensive players may leave. Vaughn may leave. Leonard Floyd may leave. I mean,
Stop me when I should care
see
about anybody you just named.
What'd you say?
Stop me on any name I should care about.
I mean, the only guys left is the young up-and-coming guys, but like.
Yeah. I was going to say, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So just a follow-up question. Okay, so any of those players that you named, are they starters on any other team?
I think Poyer and Hyde could start on other teams. I think – who else I named?
Vaughn, Diggs could start on another team.
Leonard Floyd could start on another team. Vaughn, depends which Vaughn show up.
No, I'm saying, I didn't say Vaughn. I'm saying you said Vaughn, but I said Diggs, but then I said Diggs can start on another team.
Like, is it healthy Vaughn or the Vaughn that we got? So, I mean.
So had him healthy for a minute.
I would contend that point, but I think to a degree you might have it because they're names. Right? And typically teams like to give names the benefit of the doubt when they come to the team. Same thing that happened when we signed Von Miller. We were given the name the benefit of the doubt because, as somebody just pointed out, forgive me if I don't get the name quickly, but we had a comment that was talking about Von Miller's contract and how that just didn't work out at all, which is, I mean, we can see it's absolutely right. Not only was he not used properly, but he was barely used at all this season.
I'm going to say they must be newer to the show, because what did I talk about ad nauseum the first 6 episodes of our – what I say every episode, we got like, Von Miller screwed us. His contract screwed everything.
No, it's somebody that regularly watches.
I believe it. No, I'm just saying, because early in the when we first started doing this, the only thing I used to talk about, anytime we talk about salary cap,
Von Miller's contract.
It's like Aaron was like, "Why can't we get Von Miller? Why can't we get Von Miller?
Von Miller, that's why."
Well, let me show you a spot track, Von Miller. Why you look at this? I wanted to give kudos to Spencer Brown and Cyrus Torrance for being the Ironman of the team. They play every available snap to them. 100% snaps played. Deion Dawkins was out with the finger. Mitch Morris was 97%. So Mitch Morris,
the old guy, he was hanging in there.
Really quick, outside looking in writes, no, every head coach brings in their own guys, so our guys will be traded or cut if history is correct.
Outside looking, exactly.
Yeah, and so actually, I want to get to this too. Lindsay says, yes, as long as we have JA-17, we will still make the playoffs. That's actually been my point. Especially going into 2024 with all these guys that were, that are about to be cut. This is the year that you want to go get an offensive-minded guy, right? Because Lindsay also says we need an offensive-minded head coach. So me and Lindsay on the same
I'm
wavelength.
convinced you are Lindsay, aren't you? You are Lindsay, aren't you? I'm convinced. It's your handle, ain't it? I'm convinced.
Lindsay, I need you to write something else right now to make sure that they understand it's
Take
not,
a picture
it's
with a
not
spoon on
me.
your forehead. No,
Cover me now, please. Get my back.
But no, yeah, you're right. I mean, Josh Allen, he will get you to the playoffs. But I mean, right now, I'm so tired of the playoffs. I'm so tired of getting to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's not to poo-poo on her point, because it was a point worth making, because it's true. He's got the talent. I was telling to you earlier today. Josh Allen does have the talent to contend, but the coaching staff he's with is not going to do it for him, and the weapons he has is not going to do it for him.
Right.
He's not going to do it on his own. Is basically what I'm getting at. He's not going to get to the promised land by himself.
You know what it really is, and I forgot to mention we had Damaris Johnson TV on the comments. If you're still watching, correct me if I'm wrong. Josh Allen, and really when you have a quarterback of that caliber, you're supposed to make the playoffs with a quarterback of that caliber, right? Yep. A quarterback of that caliber gets you to the playoffs. Yeah. Now, what gets you to the Super Bowl is a combination of coaching, talent around that quarterback, and the quarterback, right?
That was one of my points,
once you get to the playoffs, it's not as much about Josh's play. His play is going to be what it is regardless, and it should be. Same thing with Mahomes. Mahomes' play is going to be what it is regardless of what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. So what you need to do is make sure that you can make their jobs easier in the postseason. And let's be honest, Mahomes looked like he was having an easy time yesterday.
That he was surgical.
Dude.
It didn't look like he was struggling as much as Josh Allen was trying to figure out that defense.
No. Kelsey was wide open.
Right.
Which it boggles my mind.
He on the touchdown or?
Dude.
Yeah, on the touchdown.
Yeah.
Even the other catches. Like, nobody around this dude.
Going against Klein.
I'm like.
Oh, we talked about that.
Like, even I know, right? I'm not an NFL player.
Dude, you're a smart guy.
Right? I'm not an NFL player.
You're a smart dude.
But you know what, though? You know what? I really see myself going into coaching now, bro. I really do.
You need to.
This is really aggravating me. So listen.
Both of y'all need to.
So listen. Man, now I'm going to figure out what I was about to say. The reason why I said I was coaching, though, let me go there. The reason why I said I was coaching, that last drive, as a coach, it's all about the team, right? I want the coach and the team to come together. So if it was me, and after that third down where Josh threw the ball in the end zone and went down, I'm calling a timeout. I'm bringing my offense together. I'm like, this is it. Do y'all want to go home today? Like, how do y'all feel right now? Right. What do y'all want to do? You tell me, because I'm the coach, but y'all out there playing. Y'all out there sweating. Y'all out there bleeding. Y'all out there playing. Do y'all want to go for this touchdown or you want to go to field goal? What do you want to do? And I'm going to rest my head on what my quarterback and my offensive line and that my starting offense want to do. Because guess what? If they say, you know what, coach, we're going to kick the field goal, let's go to overtime. Okay. Because that's a team the decision that they made as a team, and that was all together. Yes. Or if they say, you know what, let's go for the touchdown. Okay, boom, let's go.
You knew what I would have said to the person.
I felt like Sean McDermott, he don't have that connection with the team.
Not at all. He never has.
And, like, why don't you have that? Like, listen, I know this is the last play, bro. Like, if you don't score, it's over. You don't think you call a timeout to even talk over or anything?
I get it. I don't think and this is just kind of in jest, but the person that says we're going to keep the field goal and going overtime, I'd have cut him on the spot. It's Mahomes. With a minute and 55 seconds, you want to get – how smart are you? How smart are you to tell me you want it
like
with
a
straight
true defensive-minded head coach? Did you see – hold on. Let me take this back to what happened in that Lions-Cowboys game, right? Mm-hmm. You got Dan Morgan standing there. Is it Dan Morgan?
Campbell.
Dan Campbell. You got Dan Campbell.
Morgan might have been there.
Standing on the sideline saying to himself, you know what? We already made the playoffs. We don't really need to take any chances, but a win would give us a better seed. Mm-hmm. So let's go for it.
Right.
Let's go for it. Right? He could have just played for overtime, but damn all of that. But we going for that bad boy.
You know what really threw me
off? And he
off?
got it though. Let's be real. He got it. It was the refs that robbed him. They got it.
You know what threw me off about that whole sequence though? If you notice, what did we do on first down?
Ran the ball to James Cook like we did it on every
Which
first
way
down.
did we run it?
In the middle.
No. To the right hash.
Oh.
We got tackled on the right hash. Then what did we do? We got a yard on that play. Then what did we do? 2nd and 9. Diggs was like, yo, I'm here. Josh like, nah, here.
No, I don't. No. You're not about to do that to Josh.
But he did two. His last two throws were in the end zone.
No.
And on top of that, Shakir was wide open in the end zone when he threw it. Like, the only reason that ball didn't get there is because Dawkins is getting pushed into his shoulder.
Yeah, he was about to get hit, but he didn't get hit.
He for sure couldn't step into it. Real quick, Lindsay writes in, should have put Dorian Williams in over A.J. Klein, McDummy. Right, absolutely right. But like,
tough. That's tough.
Who do you think is a better coverage though?
You could have put Neal on him.
No, it's not that. It's tough because you knew Pacheco was going to be running at him, and what does Dorian Williams do? He misdiagnoses everything.
Yeah, so but if he's got to play man, like, and that's the thing.
We're talking about the run game when Pacheco just destroyed us up the gut.
Well, it didn't matter. He destroyed us up the gut.
Well,
all
I know that,
long.
but like, the game plan wasn't to let him have 97 yards.
No,
the game plan was that A.J. Klein was going to stop something.
But and this is the thing for me. This is the thing for me. When you take until the fourth quarter to figure out that I should put Neal on Kelsey. When you take until the fourth quarter to figure out, man, like, think about it like this. After the before the Chiefs what am I thinking about? The drive right before the Bills got the ball back with 5 minutes left on the clock. We stopped them twice, right? We stopped them, but then there was the call on Dorian Williams, which gave them a first down. Mm-hmm. We stopped them again.
Yep.
Why couldn't we figure that stuff out earlier in the game? Because the Chiefs were trying to get first downs. They were trying to put the game away. Mm-hmm. They were trying to leak that clock out.
Got to make adjustments.
That's my point. It takes Sean McDermott way too long to come up with viable adjustments throughout the game. And when you're waiting until the fourth quarter to make those kind of adjustments, like, I don't know if you can pull up the stats on Sean McDermott's, like what the Bills' defensive stats after halftime, but
yeah, you can do that
the Chiefs are definitely they have a stat that tells who they are after the half. They have the best point differential in the league after halftime. They only allow like an average of 7 points.
Yeah, but that would take some time to pull up.
Right?
Yeah,
so, but my point in saying that is the Chiefs established who they are in terms of making adjustments. And one of the things that takes place when you have an offensive-minded head coach is they tend to figure things out pretty fast. If you're an elite defensive play caller or defensive coordinator like a Steve Spagnuolo or DeMeco Ryans, like DeMeco Ryans started to figure out what to do against the Ravens. They just couldn't figure out what to do on offense with that noise. Like, to me, that was the story of that game. It was the noise messing with their offensive line. The offensive line wasn't good enough to play against that Ravens defense. But the rest of those boys came ready to play. The coaches made the adjustments that they needed to make, right? You didn't see any of that with the Buffalo Bills, right? And based on what you said, that Sean said in the press conference, like or Eric Washington, it was that said, like, we ain't gonna change the game plan based on who's out there. Mm-hmm. Well, what does that say? Mm-hmm. Well, it's the players' fault if they can't make the plays.
Yeah. Like,
you putting all the onus on these guys to go out there and win you the game. You the coach. You supposed to make their job easier.
But yeah, going back to that last sequence, the last offensive sequence, when they ran the ball, they ran it to the right hash, got a yard. Josh Allen throws incomplete. Josh Allen throws again, incomplete. Don't care why it's incomplete. That's irrelevant. The point is, which way did he which way did he miss the kick?
To the right.
Why right?
Which way did he almost miss the previous kick?
Why right?
Why the hell would you run the ball to the right hash and let it sit there? Any person that looks and sees, and he said in the press conference, the first one it floated on him. The first it just hit wrong and the wind took it. You know which way he said the wind usually blows left to right.
They ran it that way. I thought
they ran it to the right. James Cook took the handoff and ran it for a yard to the right hash. Tony Romo even said it on the broadcast. It was a design run out of shotgun to the right.
I don't get it.
And that goes. That's kind of where I was going, and it wasn't. Yeah. I mean, I made jest about the Stephon Diggs. Yeah, okay, that wasn't his read. It's whatever. You know, Josh could have easily ran the ball too. There was a wide open lane, but neither here nor there. The point is, if you know your kicker is struggling, and you know the wind is blowing left to right, and you know the kicker is missing them or pulling to the right, why wouldn't you give him extra room on the left side by running to the left? And that way you can still run the same plays out on the offense and passing. If you don't have it, you're still kicking the field goal.
Yeah. There's a quote that just came out from Josh Allen. It says, "I believe in what we've got going on here and the people that are in charge."
See, I don't need that. I don't want you to believe. I want you to be uncomfortable.
Exactly.
I don't need that.
Exactly.
That's the least thing. I don't want to run it back. And we're going to run it back with components we don't have now, because we're going to run it back with components we used to have but don't have anymore because we can't afford them.
Like, this is how angry I am. Like, T, you knocked it out the park. She goes,
what T?
Yo, T.
My T?
Yo, T. She goes, Josh has the talent to piss me off. The whole team, for that matter. The players, the coach, even the water boy. Like, that's real. That's real. Even the daggone water boy. You ain't giving him enough water. What the heck is wrong with you?
I should just let it ride. I would have figured it out by the time. Oh, man.
Then she says, "Go Bills." Right. Because what else are you gonna say? Lindsay writes in, put Poyer in coverage on Kelsey. LOL. He funked up on that Kelsey TD. Yeah. I mean, but this is the thing. You knew who they were before they got into the stadium.
We all did, man. Like,
you knew who you needed to shut down.
Mm-hmm. That was my point that I forgot when I was talking about the coaching. Yeah. We're all fans. We all know who's their weapon. Make sure he don't get open. Like,
that's the kick though. Like I told me and A was talking about
man.
before you came in. Who beat us? Really nobody. Kelsey had. If you told me Kelsey had 75 yards and Rasheed Rice had what? You said 40-some yards? Rasheed Rice had 40-some yards? Was it 60?
No, it was 40.
44 or something like that?
He had 47 yards.
47 yards. You had Miko Hardman with a couple. You had MVS with 62.
No.
Oh, the other way around.
Miko Hardman had 2 yards.
2 yards.
2 yards.
And then you had MVS with the 62, right?
62.
Okay.
Yep. Noah Gray had 16 yards.
So we're like, you tell me Mahomes threw 215 yards with that? We won. But then you're like, how did Isaiah Pacheco get 97 yards on Daquan Jones in the front four we had?
But that's the thing. I didn't see Daquan Jones in there as often as I thought I would.
You know what? Let me see what his snap. How many snaps he got?
I don't think he started.
That's what I'm saying. Like I kept seeing Tim Settle in there, and who
or not unless they was rotating like every other play with the defensive line.
He made the first stop on Pacheco. I think he did. I can't remember, but
yeah. The issue is, Key. You look at the stats, yeah, Kelsey got 75 yards, but he got 5 catches, 2 of them is touchdowns.
Right.
One of them was wide open. Like, it's blunders.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, bro, what are y'all doing?
It's blunders.
Like, out of everybody on the team, the one player you cannot lose is Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll go with that all day. The thing was, it's like, had they been on their P's and Q's, Kelsey could have got 5 catches all day long. He would have had, what, 60 yards?
Yeah.
And I would have taken that. He had 83 when we beat him.
And listen, like the one touchdown is a screen pass. They club close. Okay, I'll give you that one. If you play good defense, he might still get that touchdown. Yeah. But that first touchdown, no way he could have got that, bro. There's no way.
Can we talk about those weird Josh Allen laterals for a second? The first one he got away with a forward pass.
Yo, to me that's Josh Allen. That's how he played, bro.
That's it.
But that first one was a forward pass.
It was not a forward pass.
It was definitely. I ran it back. Slow mo Jones. He threw it from the 27 and he caught it on the 28. I ran it back.
It was not a forward pass.
I'm sorry, because of Tennessee, are we sensitive about it?
No, it ain't about being sensitive. It's the reality.
But he threw it from it's where he threw it from and where it was received. How is it not a forward pass?
See.
Why is that illegal?
Why is it illegal?
He's throwing. He can throw it. It wasn't nobody else threw it.
It don't have to be backwards. It can be side to side.
It wasn't even side to side. That's the thing. I watched it like 6 times.
But it's the thing.
Slowed it down.
Is where his body is.
His body is on the 27, and it was caught on the 28.
That's fine.
No, it's not.
Why isn't it?
Because it's going forward.
He's a
if
quarterback.
If he throws it on the 20, he's ahead of the line though.
Yeah,
he's not behind the line.
Of scrimmage, you can't
So if he's past, that's what I'm saying. His whole body got to be across his line.
Oh, that's
of scrimmage.
true. That's
That's
true.
the
His body
point.
was.
It
No,
not,
his
'cause
foot-
his
his
back
left
foot
foot-
was
his
still
left
on the
foot.
line.
On the Ty Johnson catch?
Yes.
No. No.
How far past the line of scrimmage was he?
About a yard, maybe. Maybe a yard.
'Cause
his whole
That's
body.
a foot length. That's a leg length. That's a Josh
His whole
Allen
body.
leg right there.
I'm 6'6".
That's-
I'm taller than Josh Allen. Ain't my leg. No.
Not by much.
Cause that's what
You
I'm saying.
better watch yourself.
Like
Not by much.
in order for it to go, your entire body has to be past the line.
No,
Like,
no, that's
if
not-
if you got an arm, you got a leg.
No,
back
that's
there,
not the issue. That's not my issue. That's not my issue. My issue is it's not that he was past the line so much as it was. Well, maybe it is. Maybe that's kind of where you're going. But but I ran it. I mean, they didn't call it, so whatever. I'm not gonna say nothing. But he did it twice. It was like he started scrambling. He looks to the left. He just throws it. I'm like, well, I mean, okay, fine. But Romo was like, yo, that's definitely a forward pass. I was like, no, it's not. I ran it back, and you can slow mo on the app, and I put it in half speed. I'm like, yeah, they got away with one there, but but whatever. I mean, like you said earlier, it didn't make or break the game. We lost, so it didn't matter.
Right.
You know, I think at that point in time, I was trying to ready my defense for Hockey Lee and how he didn't screw the whole game.
Oh my god.
So I went and watched it this morning. I mean, I watched it again, and I took my notes, and I did this, and I took my notes last night actually. But it is Josh Allen. That's what he does. But I just wish we could do something completely different because this.
Well, speaking of that, Boz XC writes in, nothing will change until we see breaking news. Pagula parts ways with McDermott and Bean. I mean, I could see a scenario where Bean gets kept.
I try to like Bean. Like I can see McDermott,
same.
but I do like Bean.
I want Pagula to separate himself from himself.
So
Pagula can
you
just
want,
he can.
you want him to hire a president of football operations?
I want him to do mitosis or meiosis, whichever one is the splitting of a cell. Just split in half, and both of y'all go away. Because I think what's his name? Boz.
Boz XC. If I'm saying that wrong, please let me know.
That's a Sabres fan. I bet you. That's a
think
Sabres
so?
fan. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
All right.
Not because of his name, but because of the way the Pagula thing. You know, I would get rid of.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Like everybody watching right now, everybody that watches this in the future, we have a voice. That is the whole entire premise of this show, is for everybody to understand we have control. We have a voice. We don't have to sit back and allow this to continue to happen. If we speak up loud enough, we can be like Philly and get the owner to hear what we're saying and get rid of the head coach. If we've really had enough, because that's really what it boils down to. How many of us are willing to go to the next person and say, you know what? Don't cheer for him no more. We've had enough. How many of us are willing to actually go out and say that to people? Because that's really what it boils down to. If we want to see change, we see, like, matter of fact, I'll equate it to this. This is just totally destroyed my faith in people in general, right? and I'm joking when I say that, but City of Buffalo has all these bike lanes around the city now, right?
Yep.
Big part of the infrastructure of how all these streets are restructured. Before that happened, I used to see 100,000 people on bikes riding in droves up and down the street.
That's called
ringing
slow
their little
roll.
bells with lights on. Ring, ring, ring.
That's called a slow roll. They're supposed to do that.
Huh?
That's a slow roll. They do that.
Like these people with trikes out there, like they was deep. It would be crews like 3-4 blocks deep riding down Niagara Street and all these other places, and they were doing this to petition for these bike paths because that was the new craze or whatever. I don't know. And the reason I say the new craze sarcastically like that is because nobody uses the daggone things. Nobody.
You got a point, bro.
I'm about to go
I
out there and
drove
use it.
all summer long out there waiting to see more than 2 people using a bike lane in a week.
I bet you see me do it this summer.
Hey,
Just because you said that.
you definitely got a point because I'm one of the I have a bike and I used to ride the bike to work,
Yeah.
like Niagara Falls, and I used to get pissed off because I'm like, dude, I need some bike lanes. But I didn't look at the correlation because I remember a whole bunch of people used to be in the street, but now you got them bike lanes, you rarely see them.
right. Like, what did you really fight for?
We got it. All right,
all right. All right, no bikes. We're not doing that no more.
Like, if anything, those are the people we need to bring together to go fight for the Bills to fire Sean McDermott. Like, even if they just accomplish that and then go away, those are the people we need to talk to. So if anybody on here knows that crew of bike riders, find them, direct them to the Post Podium podcast. We need to have a conversation with them so that we can get Sean McDermott fired.
So you need the people need people to get Sean McDermott fired.
People need people. That's right.
Okay,
that's right. If that's what it's going to take, because what I'm talking about is people like standing up and bucking the system, bucking the norm. You know what I mean? Like everybody on our comment section is talking about how tired they are of this. Mm-hmm. What are we willing to do about it at this point? Right? If I got a voice, you got a voice, you got a voice, my son Junie got a voice, we can talk to 10 other people and convince 10 other people to walk away from Sean McDermott. Like, we could do that if we really desired it. You understand what I'm saying? The whole point of this show is not to get rid of Sean McDermott. It's to do away with the culture of good enough. Like, I'm tired of that. I'm tired with settling for good enough. This is what happens when you do that. And I was sitting there scrolling all day long on Facebook. Not all day long, I'm being sarcastic. But I'm seeing all these people, thank you, Bills Mafia, for a good year and can't wait to cheer for you next year. Is that it?
Still my team.
Is that our existence? Yeah, still my team. Is that all we are?
See, the thing about that is I equate that to my love of UB. See, UB sucks. I know they suck. But I bet you as soon as they sell them season tickets, they're going to get my season ticket.
Right.
But see, I go in there knowing what the outcome is going to be.
That's it right there.
When the Bills go to the Bills, you paying $600, $700, $800, $2,000 for a season ticket to go to the bowl. Yeah. Because you expect the bowl. You got Josh Allen. You got Steph Diggs. You got these guys, all pros. Yeah. And they do the same damn thing every year. Yeah. It's not UB.
Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I was pissed off and stuff like that. But, hey, I'm getting close. I'm getting close.
You're not.
I really am. I'm not there yet because I see A's point. I'm not there yet, though, because of all the, I'm not giving him a pass. Mm-hmm. But because of all the injuries, it's hard to come back from that.
Okay, I made this point before you got here. I want to see what you think about this. Since you teetering, right?
You trying to give you all the way.
I'm trying to get you a little. Okay, so check this out. Listen, even the wife is saying can't settle for good enough. That's a word. Can't settle for good enough. Hey, I'm just all right. So anyway, so the Buffalo Bills in the 13 seconds game had the number one defense, if I'm not mistaken. They were maybe number one in some categories and number two in others, right? In the 13 seconds game.
Yep.
We can say that was the best iteration of the Bills defense, the Bills team that we had seen to this point. This year, the Buffalo Bills, mind you, without Leslie Frazier, 6th in the league in defense this year, right? So if the best iteration of the Buffalo Bills couldn't get the job done with Leslie Frazier, and we've seen now that this hyper-aggressive defense that Sean McDermott was talking about.
Oh, you mean the one that blitzed Mahomes twice yesterday?
The one that only blitzed Mahomes twice yesterday. With the 6th best defense, lower in rating, couldn't get the job done, and it actually looked way worse. Like, this is the other thing I want to bring up too, real quick, and then I'll get your thoughts. Last year, it was the defense fighting for their life and having a good game against the Bengals, and the offense sputtering, right? So it's two consecutive years now without Dayball that we've seen. There's one side of the ball that's going to suffer, no matter what. Last year it was the offense. Couldn't figure that out. Rookie offensive coordinator. This year it was the defense. You can't even, like you say, no excuses for the defense because next man up, right? And on top of that, because somebody else mentioned the injuries, I said this. I said the Bills have won more games with the injuries than they did with the team fully together this year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So my mindset is this. If there are no excuses for that, if the best iteration of the Buffalo Bills that we've seen to date went up against Mahomes and Andy Reid and still lost, what else can we expect from Sean McDermott that we think is going to get better or get us over the hump of beating Mahomes and Andy Reid?
All right, so in the 13-second games, who was missing from the defense.
What defense?
Von Miller.
Who else?
Well, he wasn't on the team.
He wasn't on the team.
Yeah.
But I mean, we ain't had no. And
No,
who
Milano
else?
No, Milano played.
He played. Yeah.
Tremaine Edmonds played.
So
Trey White played.
we had.
Jerry Hughes was there.
Nope.
We didn't have any big injuries that game.
We
Oh,
did.
he's talking about
We
Boyer
did.
or Hyatt, one of them?
No, they both played.
One of our key players on defense was not playing on that 13 seconds.
How about we do this? What year was that? Was that 21?
21. No. Was it? Yeah, 21.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because last year
It's
we
21.
lost to the Bengals. Would have been the 22 season.
Mm-hmm.
The 21st season was the 13 seconds, right?
Yep, it's 21.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Okay, so you're saying somebody did they get hurt in the game or did
No,
they?
they was not there for the game.
Yeah, like who started? Who
We
started?
had Rousseau, Jerry Hughes, Ed Oliver, Harrison Phillips, Matt Milano, Tremaine Edmonds, Dane Jackson, Terran Johnson, Levi Wallace, Michael Hyatt, and Jordan Poyer.
They had everybody.
No Tre'Davious White.
No Trey White.
Why do I remember Troy?
Because he tore
White?
the ACL. Yeah. That's when he
Oh
tore the
yeah,
ACL.
Lindsey said
Yeah.
Trey White didn't play in the
Trey
13
White
game.
didn't play. So
I mean,
and here's my thing. The only reason why I say that is I don't care what nobody say. The best team in the AFC is the Kansas City Chiefs. They've
don't care
been the
what I
best
say?
team in the AFC. AFC wise, they're the
you
best
watch
team.
your mouth.
So to me, which it kind of we're like halves because of McDermott's hasn't came over the hump yet. He needs his top players to beat the best team. So I feel like if he don't have the best players, it's hard for him to beat that team. Now, if he had an opportunity where his best players are in there, and he still loses, then I have no more rope for him.
Okay.
I got no more rope for him.
Watch this.
Cross examination.
Watch this. Do me a favor. Pull up Trey White stats by season.
I like stats.
I want to see. I want to see what his interception totals are after the season where he had like 6 interceptions.
We did
or
that,
something like
but let's do it again.
I mean, not even interceptions. Like, all right, so for example, look at the Miami game where we blew him out. He was a key pivotal part in that game.
this year.
Yeah,
When he got hurt in?
yeah, the one he got hurt in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he got hurt early in that game.
He got hurt like the third quarter, end of the third quarter. It was towards the end of the game.
Okay.
So like that's what I'm saying. Like when
Yeah,
they're
but that's-
healthy,
Like that's a schematic. Like I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But I'm looking at Trey White's production, even versus a Rasul Douglas's
do
production.
this.
Like
How
we
about we do
even
this?
talked about how
And
much
then-
better Rasul Douglas has been than Trey White this season, right? So if we admitted that and we were willing to see that, in my mind, that eliminates Trey White's impact. On top of that, you also have to keep in mind that the Bills' defense in the 13 seconds game was good enough to give us a chance to be ahead at the end of that game with 13 seconds left.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
So
For the PFF, he hasn't been above average after his rookie year.
right. So
He's just been average.
and that's kind of what I'm looking at. Like production wise, Trey White had never really established himself anymore after his rookie season, and I think the year after that he had like 2 big interceptions, one against the Patriots and another one against the Dolphins, that people look at and like, oh, look at him making all these diving interceptions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they even put that in the Madden game where he was making diving interceptions like he was some wild stallion at corner.
And it makes sense. It makes sense because it's the impact plays that you're going to stand out in your mind. It's going to shape your view of everybody.
But
I'm not saying he sucks, but
but here's the thing though. So like I don't like that stat because to me it's not conducive. The reason why I say that, for example, is like that's like me saying, oh, I always throw for 250 yards, but every game it's a 90-yard bomb.
you
Like,
talking about interceptions or what's that?
interceptions? No, just the fact that it's stats because cornerbacks like me and you alluded to this. When you're a good cornerback, you're not going to have the stats.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, right, I get that,
But what I'm saying is, in those key games against those top players, Trey White makes an impact. Whether he's just covering them tight so he can't throw the ball to him, where Mahomes can't. Like, oh, he's open. Oh, he's not open. Trey White's on. I gotta go somewhere else. Just his presence on the field itself, to me, is a plus that I would want him on the field if I'm playing the best teams.
I get what you're saying, but what we're looking at here as far as his grades takes into consideration pass breakups, target percentages, all that kind of stuff that really gives you a measure of how well a corner has played, right?
But this is all year. It takes everything into consideration. I'm talking about just those pivotal moments in those big time games.
No, I get that.
So you're okay. So Mel's extracting the key moments like the Kelsey play and other. I get it. I mean,
That's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not like, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, he hasn't been productive all season, but it's not about his stats or his production per se. It's about his presence on the field.
Over Dane Jackson, if you're doing, I'm not.
I mean, if you
and even Rasul Douglas, he played, but we know he's not 100%.
If you go on that route, though,
we knew he's not 100%.
If you go on that route, though, then we should have never got rid of Tremaine Edmonds because his presence on the field was a big impact. He's a 6'5", 240-pound linebacker that took up the whole middle of the field.
Well, we were too good for him, though. Remember, he said that he wanted to be part of a rebuild.
Hey, listen,
right?
Steve Spagg said what makes Buffalo's defense is so good is Tremaine Edmonds is in the middle. Like, he even alluded to it. Like, that's hard.
But I get it. But then how do you explain the defense being better without him? Like, what do you want me to do with that? Like, to be honest, like outside looking in comments, he says Trey White is Jarris Bird with less mouth, never available. I don't know if I'm
less mouth.
I don't know if I want to say. I don't know if I want to say. Never available. But in the past 3-4 years, that's what it's been, right? Yeah. So here's the thing: when I look at impact players, I look at players that you can count on to do whatever they're designed to do. And as Trey White was touted on this team, he was a shut down corner. Right? That's exactly what he was. His designation and his design was in this defense was to be a shut down half the field. Right? When he played Gronk, frustrated Gronk,
big receivers. Period.
Right. But after he frustrated Gronk went off on him. Tried to guard Kelsey, couldn't guard Kelsey. Tried to guard Julio Jones, couldn't guard Julio Jones. Tried to guard A.J. Green, couldn't guard A.J. Green. He struggles with big receivers.
I got to say a favorite. Alshon Jeffrey.
Man, my guy.
That's your guy. I had to bring it in just because you like that.
My guy, right? So if I'm looking at that, I'm saying to myself, okay, Jalen Ramsey, that never happened with Jalen, right? Jalen only gets got by the absolute best, right? And what I mean by that is I've only ever seen Steph Diggs get off on Jalen Ramsey. I've never seen anybody else get off on Jalen Ramsey up until the later years of his career. But when he was with the Rams their first year, when he was with Jacksonville, like nobody was getting off on Jalen Ramsey, right?
So yeah, I mean he's hurt, so that plays into it as well, age and injury.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So when you think about the real top dog corners, Ty Law when he was with the Patriots, you talking about Asante Samuel when he was with the Patriots, you talk about Darrelle Revis when he was with the Jets. When you like, I could go through a whole Nnamdi Asomugha if you want to talk about a guy that nobody really talked about that much, but was a dominant corner for the Raiders for 1 year. Nobody got off on them. Nobody, right? But all you got to do is be taller than 6'2", and you can get off on Trey White. And on top of that, if you're a speedy guy like a Tyreek Hill, you could get off on Trey White too. Because guess what? He don't really run a 4.4. He's more of a 4.5 guy. So if I'm looking at all that, I'm saying to myself, where has he shown me that he's a shutdown dominant corner? Where has he shown me that his presence on the field really makes that big of a difference?
What is the national media?
I don't think he's a shutdown corner.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's what he was touted to be.
Yeah,
I don't care what he was touted to be. What he is he's the best cornerback on the Bills team.
But
that's your best cornerback on the Bills squad.
But what does that say though about the Bills corner room? Like if that's the case, like
yeah, we have no cornerback.
Like we were depending on Trey White, who you're saying is not well, I'm saying is not an elite corner. And you're not really debating that. You don't care about that.
Right.
And then on top of that, you add into that Levi Wallace, who...
Hey, whoa. Why we got to do this?
No, I'm not banging on him. I'm not banging on him like I could. But I'm simply saying he was the number 2 guy who kept getting blessed every single year with the job and no competition whatsoever for it. These are the guys that we have as our number 1 and number 2. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if I'm looking at that, I'm saying to myself... It's either the coach ain't using them right, or the coach is seeing something that nobody else sees, because he keeps putting them on the field and expecting something from them that they haven't done yet, right? So either way you go, the bottom line of it is, with Trey White on the field, without Trey White on the field, they lost to the Chiefs every time they've played them in the playoffs. Period. Like Trey White played in the 2020 game. The right? Am I wrong? He played in the AFC Championship game.
That was the first time they played the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Okay.
Now to me, they wasn't even on the same level as the Chiefs that year. But the 13 seconds game proved that they was on their level. And like I said, this last game, we thought that they were going to win. But what I'm saying is, if you back to coaching, you're a head coach. You have your team. You don't have your number one corner, your best corner on the team, regardless if he's elite in the league standards. He's the best corner on your team, and you got to play the best team in the NFC. Like that puts you at a disadvantage. Right. It does. Like, I don't care if he's not that good. It don't matter how good he is. He's the best one on your team. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, that's why I'm not completely sold on get McDermott out of here. But the reason I'm saying I'm close is because of this. As a human beings, when we make a plan, we have a goal. If we don't reach our goal, what do? So I'm gonna ask you individually, Keyshawn, what do you do if you got a goal and you don't meet your goal? What do you do?
You got to go and don't meet it?
Yeah. What do you do?
I'm gonna have to retool.
So you retool and you reattack it and you try next time, right? Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, yes, he fell short again, but it's all about what do you do to recover. I'm not gonna say, oh, you fail, it's over with, because that's not how we do in life. Like when you make a plan, you fail, you don't just quit. Oh, it didn't work, I'm just quitting.
I think.
Okay, hold on. Because let me ask you this: you ever been fired from a job?
Yes.
You ever been fired from a job?
Yeah, once.
Okay, I've been fired from plenty of jobs, right?
I would have said all plenty.
What they say to you in the meeting is, you get a warning, you keep coming late to work, you got to figure something out. You need a plan. You need a plan. You got to figure it out, right? So if I leave that meeting and I say, all right, I'm gonna get this right, I'm not gonna be late to work no more. 2 weeks later, I'm late to work. They bring me back into the room. Yo,
what we just talk about?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You late to work again. Like, what's the problem? What's going on? My bad. I started a habit of setting my alarm, and it went well for 2 weeks, and then I left my charger at my mom's house by accident, and I couldn't charge my phone, so it must have died when I was asleep, and so. In the boss's mind, it don't matter where I left my charger. It don't matter what happened with my phone. The bottom line is I'm still late to work. The problem still exists.
True.
Right? Okay. Second warning. Final warning in most places. Right? So I go home from that meeting. I'm thinking, man, I got to get this together. I got to do something. Okay, you know what? I'm going to make a big splash. I'm going to go buy the most expensive alarm clock I can possibly find. Right? Even though the alarm clock that I'm buying came out 40 years ago and was great 40 years ago, I'm going to spend $100 million on that bad boy. And I'm going to put that joint right on my nightstand, and it's going to I'm taking the lights off the nightstand. I'm taking everything off that nightstand. Everything is devoted to that one alarm clock that's going to make sure to wake me up. Only come to find out that alarm clock has some bad circuitry. It's got some defects in it that the people who built it put out a notice for. You might not want to buy this anymore because it's been known to have defects. It's an older style alarm clock, blah blah blah. So you're late again for work. When you go to that job and you think you're gonna creep over to your station and start working, and the boss, come here, we need to talk. What's gonna happen?
You going.
You out of that bad boy, right? So my thing is, how many chances do you need to prove that you can solve the problem? Because if we're really looking at the equation, Sean McDermott has had 6 years. He's had 6 different chances to prove that he can solve the equation. Most people only get 3 in life.
Well, this is what I was going to say about that. Okay, the first 2 wild card exits, those are your gimmies. But you showed me you can get to the conference championship. Right. Now you're lost in the division, that first one. Right. That's the first warning.
Right.
Now you lost again to another team in the same round. That's your second warning. Mm-hmm. Now you doubled back and lost to the first team you lost in the same division. Your pink slip's coming, man.
All right, now let me make this point. Right now in 2024, who is regarded as the best coach of all time? Right now, who is it?
Bill Belichick.
Nope. Who is it?
No, you're talking
He's
about
got the
current. I think
second-
you're talking about current, I guess. Like
What?
current right now.
No.
All time?
Who's the best coach all time right now?
Bill Walsh.
Nope.
Not John Madden?
Nope.
Harbaugh?
The,
Oh, you did this one. I said John. I'm like, what was that? This
whoever the head coach is
Help
with
you
the
out.
most wins.
Help you out. Don Shula.
Don Shula.
Don Shula is regarded as the best coach of all time.
Okay.
Right? Don Shula had Dan Marino, Hall of Fame quarterback. How many Super Bowls did Dan Marino win?
None.
Under Don Shula, the best coach who has the most wins over everybody. So what I'm saying is, yes, I get what you're saying that he had this many chances to get it right. However, most coaches, they've been coaching for 20, 30 years.
How many Super Bowls does Don Shula have?
He has a couple, right? Let's see. 'Cause he was a coach
Like, he may have the most wins of all time.
Yeah, he has the most wins of all time.
But if I'm not mistaken, Bill Belichick has the most championships of all time and the second most wins. So if we're talking about, okay, thank you, Lindsay. She said Shula. If we're talking about accomplishments that make you the greatest of all time, I mean, Belichick is about to get another job. And he's only, 15 wins? And somebody let me know what the number is. He only needs a few more wins to it may be 25, actually, to beat Don Shula. He's already got every other coach in history beat by at least three. At least three championships.
Don Shula was a coach of that Miami team that
Yeah, they went undefeated.
the original Patriots to us that we went the whole
right.
decade. Yeah.
Right, but is that his only championship? No,
He
he's got
won
two.
two championships and 3 AFC championships.
So he's got 2 Super Bowls to Bill Belichick's 6.
yeah, so my point is he has the most wins. And he had a team on the Miami Dolphins with the best quarterback in the league with Dan Marino. He's a Hall of Fame guy, but he still never won a championship.
Yeah, but your initial premise was who's the best head coach in NFL history, right?
Don Shula right now.
No, we can't say that. We can say Shula has the most wins, but we can't say he was the best.
All right,
At the end of the season, we measure who's the best in the season by measuring what? Who won the Super Bowl, right?
No.
That was the best team in the league that year. It has to be.
No.
How
so
else do you measure?
so
it?
you're saying are you putting the championship argument? If you got more championships, that means you was better?
I'm saying if you have more championships, you've accomplished or reached the pinnacle. Yes.
Yeah.
Essentially, yes.
Okay, so with that argument, is Eli Manning better than Dan Marino?
You know Eli Manning is trash.
But he got two Super Bowls. Dan Marino got 0.
If we're counting the argument of accomplishments, then yes, you have to say that.
There's nobody who watched football is going to say Eli Manning is better than Dan Marino.
No. So
there's nobody going to say that.
There's a big difference between being better in accomplishments and more talented. When people have this conversation of who's better, they oftentimes don't actually say the word talent, but that's what people mean when they say better. In the same way that we can say Josh Allen is better than Mahomes. Why? Because he does more. He has more talent. But he's not better than Mahomes because he doesn't have the accomplishments that Mahomes has.
I disagree. It's not talent.
Statistics?
Yes.
Yeah, I go statistics.
Because Eli Manning, so to my point, he has 2 championships. How many years did he lead the league in passing or touchdowns? 0. How many times did Dan Marino did it? A lot. This is what I'm saying. It's not just about championships. I'm going by the best overall right now. In my eyes, the best coach is Don Shula because he got the most wins and he got 2 Super Bowls.
Who's the greatest quarterback of all time?
Easy, Tom Brady.
Who's got better stats than him right now?
Who's got better stats than Tom Brady?
Yep.
Who has the most touchdowns right now?
What you mean?
NFL quarterback. Who's got the most touchdowns?
I don't count that because he's played for so long. It's the same way LeBron James got all these enormous stats because he's played in the NBA.
You will not talk about King James this way.
I can't stand him for the life of me.
Junior, I tried.
But my That's what I'm saying. Like everything he does after year 15, 16 is like, come on, man. Like you've been in the league forever. It don't even matter.
Let the young timers have it.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
but this is my point. This is my point. We tout Tom Brady as the greatest of all times because of the championships that he's won.
I don't.
He was never the listen.
I don't. I count him because he led the league in touchdowns. He led the league in passing.
Never every year. He did that maybe once or twice.
He did it at least 5 times in his 20-year year.
Can you pull up his stats, please?
Sure.
Where he led the NFL in touchdowns.
Sure.
Passing touchdowns, right? We're talking about passing touchdowns?
He's did it in
He
touchdowns, and he's did it in yards.
Okay.
So this is what I'm saying. Eli's never done it.
Outside looking and said, leave James alone. My bad. Okay, that's fine. We talking football. Here's what because we could do this all night, debating on who's the greatest. Because what I'm trying to get at is, regardless of what people's definition or equation that they use to get to the greatest of all times, the bottom line still stands. As it is right now, the Buffalo Bills under Sean McDermott have had 4 chances in the divisional round alone to get past the team that they faced and could not do it. 4 chances. Most people in life only get 3 with their respective jobs. Okay?
He had
Sean
3.
McDermott, huh?
You said 4 times. He did it 3 times because he got to the conference with the Chiefs.
No. That's not included. So the Bills have been in the divisional round the last 3 years. And the way I heard it today has been the last 4 years.
3. He was 3.
So okay,
3.
so he's been in the divisional round the last 3 years and failed, right?
Mm-hmm.
The year before that is the year where they went to the AFC Championship, right? And I mean, one could even make an argument that, with no fans in the stands, can we really count that? Right? It's the same as the bubble championship for the Lakers. Some people count it, some people don't. That's neither here nor there. But my point is this: if you've failed 3 years consecutively,
mm-hmm.
twice to the Chiefs, once to the Bengals, and both of those teams have been to a Super Bowl. Never mind who won, never mind who didn't win. Both of those teams have been to a Super Bowl before you even sniffed one. Right? In my mind, like, there needs to be a conversation for change. I get that you don't want to bail on the people. I understand what that means to not want to bail on the people and bang on the people and take away their jobs. I'm not so callous as to not think about that aspect of all of this, right? We can like Sean McDermott, the person, all we want. If we really want to take care of Sean McDermott, get another head coach in here and offer Sean McDermott a chance to be a defensive coordinator. I would take that in a heartbeat because he's a good defensive coordinator. But I want a head coach overseeing him. I want a head coach putting him in his place when he needs to be and telling him, stop being such a chicken-ish and go get the quarterback. Stop being so scared of what the other team's going to do, and you enforce your will on that field. You tell those players to get out there and punch somebody in the mouth. Like, I need somebody to oversee Sean in that way. And since Sean has been here, he's had nothing but the utmost of freedom to do whatever he wants with almost no oversight. Right? And the whole reason to me that it was necessary for the Tyler Dunn report to come out was because somebody needed to expose him for the stuff that was going on behind the scenes. There was a lot of stuff that I knew about. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't. But at the end of the day, that's been the only time in Sean McDermott's tenure as a head coach of the Buffalo Bills where he's been held accountable to something because now people know about it, right? I bet you half of that stuff Pagula didn't even know about. Like, let's really think about that for a second. Like, Chad Hall getting a truck from the receivers and a week later finding out that he's not going to be able to see his family the same way he used to and accommodate his wife's schedule the same way he used to because Sean McDermott didn't like the fact that he got a truck from the receivers and decided to change the work schedule to add on an extra hour just so that Chad Hall would have to stay longer and seem and appear to be more committed so that it suited Sean McDermott's whims. Like, to me, that needed to be exposed. You can't you going unchecked with stuff like that? Like, somebody explain that to me. I don't understand how you have what comes out in the Tyler Dunn report and 3 consecutive years of missing a divisional of getting knocked out in a divisional playoff. Your team looking like it does when it loses in those divisional playoffs. And you just get a pass? Not to mention, like, we're not even going to talk about the asset allocation. We're not even going to talk about $100 million to Von Miller. We're not even going to talk about Tremaine Edmonds. We're not even going to talk about drafting Greg Rousseau. Like, what AJ Epinesa just needed time, obviously, but he can't get on the field to save his life right now. He's our second best pass rusher behind Leonard Floyd. Can't get on the field. Boz SC writes in, the team can have help from other teams getting in the playoffs, but hold on. I'm trying to see if I can.
While you look for that, I had
can't
some
see this
breaking
comment.
news on the basketball front. Joel Embiid just scored 70 points in the game.
Ooh.
70 points. That boy bad. Okay, back to football. Yeah.
All right, so Josh Allen got drafted with Lamar Jackson, right?
Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Mason Rudolph. Don't forget him.
Now, who has been Lamar Jackson's coach his whole career?
Huh?
Harbaugh.
How many Super Bowls does he got?
Lamar.
Oh, Lamar.
How many he got?
Harbaugh. None.
So how many years have he had where he didn't get to the conference or Super Bowl? How many years? Same as Josh.
5.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. Same as Josh. Why is he not fired?
You know why?
Why?
Because they had the same offensive coordinator since Lamar Jackson was drafted, correct? After they finally realized he was the problem and got rid of him, they went and got Todd Monken, and you see a night and day difference between the offense in Baltimore between this year and the last 4 years. So they have effectively fixed the problem.
If they don't go to the Super Bowl, is it fixed?
This
Yes.
is how it look. Well, this is how it
You
look.
know why?
'Cause it's
Because
the same-
Lamar Jackson never won a playoff game.
Yeah,
And this year they had.
He did win a playoff game.
This how
He
I
won a
look at
playoff
it.
game.
When?
He's 1-4 in the playoffs.
Yeah, he won.
He's won 1-4.
Okay,
So
right.
now, so here's my point. Everybody want to throw Sean McDermott. Oh, he hasn't won one. He hasn't got us there. Neither has Harbaugh.
Yeah, you lost.
But he's not fired.
But Harbaugh was in danger of getting fired if he didn't work it out.
was.
Like this is nobody was sitting there saying that Harbaugh was not in danger.
This is.
I'm not saying he's not in danger, but I'm saying don't get rid of him yet.
Yeah,
No,
but
this
you
is-
saying Harbaugh kept his job. Like, I'm sure there were
can't
people in
touch him.
Baltimore saying, like, yo, if you don't fix the situation for Lamar Jackson and make it so that he can play real quarterback, it's gonna be a problem around this piece. And he did that, and it worked. What I'm saying is, go ahead.
This is he over there dying. Like, this is.
It's like somebody keep trying to kick their feet in the door. Like, fine, open the door. What you want?
No, I was just saying. The only thing I think is different about what Mel's saying versus where my stance is with the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills got to the conference championship, and now we went.
We went down.
Right.
Never got back up.
And I'm waiting for him to at least come back up to the conference championship.
Right.
Whereas Lamar has been dog crap. Not him figuratively, but his team in general.
Yeah.
Now if they get to the situation, he gone.
But that's what I'm saying. So, to me, you just can't. I get it. This is Buffalo. I'm a fan too. I get it, bro. Like, I want the Super Bowl just as bad as anybody else. But I'm not gonna jump in the deep end because, all right, well, this guy's not doing it. Let's get rid of him and bring somebody else in. Like, I'm not doing that because statistically, he's won more games than he's lost. Statistically, he's a good coach. He just hasn't got us there yet. That doesn't mean
he's 4 and 5 in the playoffs.
It doesn't mean that he can't get there.
He's 4 and 5 in the playoffs. Without Brian Daboll, he's a below 500 coach.
What is Jim Harbaugh?
Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh's a Super Bowl champion.
John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh?
Both.
With Lamar Jackson, what is he?
With Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, what is he?
This year, they're number 1 seed.
I'm not talking about that.
What are we talking about?
Again, Josh Allen got drafted the same year Lamar Jackson got drafted. They have both had the same coach their entire career. None of them has a Super Bowl. None of them has went to the Super Bowl. But yet one is saying, we need to get rid of this guy, and this one's saying, oh, no, you good. We're going to still ride with you.
Okay, so here you go. Here, I got that. You know what the difference between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson was? Brian Daboll. Their offensive coordinator. Josh Allen had a way better offensive coordinator than Lamar Jackson had the whole time.
But we talking about head coaches.
Here's how it equates. Let me break this down. Here's how it equates. So in the same way that Josh Allen had a way better offensive coordinator than Lamar Jackson had, that gave Josh Allen certain benefits and certain abilities that Lamar Jackson didn't have with Greg Roman, right? In the same way that we had an advantage over Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes had the same advantage over Josh Allen stepping into a field where he had Eric Bieniemy, where he had Matt Nagy on the same team. Both of those guys were working the pass game together. Not just that, he had Andy Reid as the head coach who could also call plays. So my point is this. When you look at Lamar Jackson and where he was, it was an oversight on the head coach thinking that he could just make his quarterback a running quarterback. Fine. But he got the flack for that. He made the adjustment. Now they're the number 1 seed. When you look at what happened with the Buffalo Bills, we got to, like you said, Key, we got to the AFC Championship. Then the next year after that, we had the 13 seconds game. So that's a step down, right? And then the year after that, we lost to the Bengals, right? That's a step down for sure. The year after that, we lose to the Chiefs at home. That's an even further step down. And in only one of those years, no, in only 2 of those years did we play without Brian Daboll. So even with Brian Daboll, we still took a step back, right? So my point is this. When you look at what Harbaugh's been able to do with an offensive coordinator change and look at what Sean has been able to do with an offensive coordinator change, I would say 2 things. First is Harbaugh's done way better with a coordinator change than Sean McDermott has. Not only did Sean McDermott hire Ken Dorsey and then fire him, but he hired Joe Brady, who couldn't get the job done on Sunday for whatever reason. Couldn't get the job done on Sunday. On top of that, you look at the fact that the Ravens are the number 1 seed, the Bills are the number 2 seed, should have beaten the Chiefs, who were the number 3 seed, who all season long have showed that they weren't a great offense. And the reason that you were supposed to be able to beat that team was because of crowd noise and defense. Neither one of those things were a factor in that game. Neither one. The Chiefs were able to do whatever they wanted on offense, right? So if I'm looking at all of those things factored in together, there is no comparison for what Sean McDermott has done with the Buffalo Bills. There is no comparison for why he should not be fired. Like, there's nothing you can point to say he hasn't failed miserably in his time here.
He did the same thing Harbaugh's done. You mentioned offensive coordinator. I'm talking about head coaches.
Okay,
I don't care about the offensive coordinator.
Harbaugh's the number 1 seed with his offensive coordinator change.
Okay, and guess
the Bills
what?
were the number 2 seed and got beat at home.
Okay, so because he's the number 1, he keeps his job, and he's the number 2, he gets fired?
He won at home. Yes. Yes. Think about it like this. Think about what people would be talking about this season if the first game that Lamar Jackson plays, he loses at home again. People would have been banging on him like crazy. Yeah. He can't play playoff. He grabbed his, like, people would have destroyed Lamar Jackson if he lost at home in the playoffs
after
to the
bye
Texans.
Week?
Yeah. After a bye week, especially after a bye week, right? Yeah. Because that's been the narrative on Lamar Jackson since the beginning. He's never looked good in the playoffs. This was the first year he ever looked good in the playoffs. Period. Yeah. Right? So that is because he's had a real offensive coordinator.
Finally, and weapons. Finally.
So, again, what year is Lamar in?
The same year as Josh.
What year?
6.
6. So he had 5 chances to get it right, and he got it. You're saying he's got it right this year. That's 5 times.
But we've talked about this before. There's a difference between excuses and reasons. What you're
no, it's not.
Yes, there are. Reasons are things that you can point to that are logically justifiable as to why something did not happen or why something did happen. Those are things that you take exception to when you're trying to hold someone accountable. An excuse is something that you can point to and say there was no logical reasoning behind what you just said to me.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Who did the Bills lose to 3 times in the playoffs?
Huh?
Who did the Bills lose 3 times to in the playoffs?
Chiefs.
How many times did Lamar Jackson lose to the Chiefs in the playoffs?
He never saw the Chiefs.
Exactly. That's the point. We got knocked out by the best team in the AFC. Lamar didn't even have sniffed them, but yet nobody's calling for Harbaugh.
He's getting destroyed in the playoffs by tomato cans. So he lost to the Chargers.
So why is the coach not fired then? He loses the worst teams.
This goes back to my point of excuses and reasons.
It's not an excuse.
People can look at Lamar Jackson and Greg Roman and say Greg Roman has never been a great offensive coordinator. Get him out of here. And that's been proven to be right. Why? Because the second Todd Monken gets in the building, they're the number 1 seed, and they got one of the best offenses in the league with Lamar Jackson. So you can't tell me it wasn't more so on Greg Roman than anybody else in the building, because the second they kick him out, they're in the AFC Championship.
Who's the head coach?
John Harbaugh.
It's on the head coach. It's not on Greg Roman. Who hired Greg Roman?
He fixed his problem in the same way that Sean tried to fix his problem.
Who hired Greg Roman?
John.
Thank you.
But who hired Ken Dorsey?
Sean McDermott did.
And then what?
Then he fired him.
Why?
Because he wasn't good enough.
And then who'd he hire?
Joe Brady.
And then what happened?
They lost.
I rest my point.
How you rest your point?
I rest my case. What more do you need to say? They lost at home.
Lamar Jackson even had the opportunities that we had. He lost, and his coach is still there.
What are you talking about? He kept losing.
Don't make any sense.
Oh, my God.
You just said we got that far against the best team in the AFC. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens has not even got
Sean,
there.
Bro. Just say you love Sean. Just say that.
I'm just smart
Just
with
say
it.
that.
I'm not going to get rid of him.
Smart?
Because, dude, I just told you the best coach in the NFL is Don Shula.
No, he's not. He has the most wins.
Okay, so he's been in the league for that many years with the most wins, has the record for the most wins than any other coach in the NFL, including Bill Belichick. He has 2 Super Bowl rings, but yet that's the whole span of Dan Marino's career, he hasn't won a Super Bowl. But yet, he didn't get fired.
Why is it that when we talk about in the NBA the greatest player of all times, we debate between Michael Jordan and LeBron James, but nobody ever talks about Wilt Chamberlain? Nobody ever talks about any of the other guys that got way more rings, Bill Russell. Nobody talks about those guys.
You want to know why?
Right? They won more than any of these other players, but nobody talks about them. Why?
Competition.
It's not about the rings.
Exactly.
It's not about the rings.
There is much more competition in the NFL now. There's much more parity in the game now than there has ever been before in the entire league. You think back to the Jim Kelly days, name me 5 great quarterbacks in that era. You probably got John Elway, Troy
Brett
Aikman.
Favre, Troy Aikman, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Dan Marino.
No, they were on the same team.
What?
Joe Montana and Steve Young were the same team. 49ers.
Yep.
Not when Joe Montana left.
Joe Montana didn't do anything when he left.
He still was a great quarterback.
That was based on his history. I'm not counting that. That was based on his history. He didn't do anything with
Yo,
the Chiefs.
I can name you 10 great quarterbacks.
In Jim Kelly's era?
I can name you 10.
Go.
Jim Kelly.
1.
Troy Aikman.
2.
John Elway.
3.
Brett Favre.
4.
Peyton Manning.
What? In Jim Kelly's era?
He came in 98. He was in there.
No.
Okay, fine.
No. We talking about Super Bowl era Jim Kelly.
Okay. Neil O'Donnell.
What?
Neil O'Donnell?
Yep.
From Pittsburgh?
Yep.
How?
Did he go to Super Bowl?
That defense,
Behind that defense.
I don't care. He got there.
So you're saying Trent Dilfer belongs in the same conversation as Peyton Manning?
I didn't say Trent Dilfer.
You said Neil O'Donnell belongs in the same conversation as Jim Kelly and Dan Marino. Right?
At that time,
That's the equivalent of saying Trent Dilfer belongs in the conversation with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
You said that. I didn't say that.
Okay.
That's the point.
Right.
You were looking at my stuff and you try to.
Outside looking in comment says, I just don't want to be like the Cubs fans. 103 years, no championship victories. I'm 42. I ain't immortal.
I ain't making 103. I can't do it.
I'm with that. Like, that's kind of my point. Is like how much longer are we supposed to wait? Because the thing that creates pressure for me in this particular situation in this year is you've got 2 guys who are touted as offensive masterminds that you have an opportunity to go get if you decided to fire Sean. If you don't fire Sean and go after one of those guys right now, you might never have another chance at another guy like that for another 4 or 5 years until they establish themselves.
Now, this
right?
is an honest question to build off of that, and this is the last thing I'm going to ask. Is Joe Brady's job safe as our offensive coordinator? Is he a shoo-in? Are they just going to remove the interim tag and say it's you?
I think.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I think yes, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
I think yes, and here's why. I think Sean knows he's probably not going to be able to get another coordinator that good in here with Josh Allen. The only thing that gives me pause is the type of offense that Joe likes to run. It doesn't fit what we have here. So I think that may be part of the reason that they haven't taken the interim tag off of him. So while I'm kind of torn, I do think that it's more likely that Sean would settle on keeping him here and trying to do what he could to accommodate Joe Brady, as opposed to just letting him go and thinking he could find something better.
We just got Matt.
Based off of the last game, I think it's up for grabs. I really do, because like we alluded to, when they made him the offensive coordinator, the Bills went on a tear, right? However, like I said, he never had an opportunity to instill his offensive plan. It's still based off of Ken Dorsey's plan.
Which is Brian Dable. You're right.
So we haven't seen what offensive game plan or scheme Joe Brady's going to bring.
Right.
We don't know yet. So I don't think it's a shoo-in. I think he has a good chance of getting the job, but I don't think it's his for the taking.
I think I contend, not the point, I contend actually that point. With the salary cap ramifications, a lot of guys are going anyway. I mean, you could bring in some poor man talent and build your system around those guys, and whoever works sticks, Trent Sherfield, not him, but like that kind of situation where a guy catches fire on a minimum contract deal and he could be a focal point in your offense. And you could run it or Eric Coryell as you ran in Carolina or something like that. But I can see James Cook, Kincaid, even Dawson Knox playing in that. Yes, I can. And in the Eric Coryell system. So, I mean, I could see a world where they keep him. I just, like you said, and that's what I was going to say while he was thinking, the way he started, please. But the way it kind of fizzled out on me, I don't know.
Yeah, man, that's what makes me torn. Bozexy writes in, Joe Brady, too small a sample size.
Yeah.
That is the other part of it. You got to consider. I mean, do you want to take a shot at giving him another season? But again, you're going into 2024 with a very limited salary cap, so it's not like you would be able to overhaul the offense to fit what Joe Brady likes to do. So do you keep going with the same type of offense that you had this year and just hope that that's good enough based off of what you saw to make the playoffs and get past the divisional round next year? I mean that's to me that seems like a bigger risk than it needs to be. But again, who can you find as a defensive head coach? Who can you find that's better than him right now? That's just out there waiting to be had. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think you mentioned that there was a college guy that you liked.
A couple college guys, yeah. I don't know if they're going to come out.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. And that you would have to convince those guys to come out of college when really they know what the deal is at the NFL level. If I can get my hands on an offensive system and an offense with players that can make my system flourish, then I'll take that.
Yeah. But
most offenses are not built to handle what the Bills have on offense because everybody's running some style of air raid now. That's just what it is. And very few teams are running a West Coast or 12 personnel or any of that stuff. So, you got to be able to adapt the college style. And even with that, Joe Brady is running that style, that type of offense. So,
yeah, what screwed me out of my wants was they just won national championship. So,
yeah.
It's over from Michigan. I'm not getting anybody from that staff.
Yeah.
That sip of shelled.
Man.
Anything else, fellas?
I think we covered everything you
what
could
you got, Matt?
cover.
You got anything? You got any burning topics?
I think that's it.
Right.
Viewers, y'all got any topics y'all wanted us to cover before we get going?
Oh, yeah. While you guys are typing, while we're not on the show, find our Facebook page, find my Instagram, find our team Twitter, find our whatever. Just link with us, because that's how you keep in contact with us in terms of when our show is going on, when if we have a delay or if we're going to go early, we're going to change days. It'll always be on our social media. Also, I'm getting really good at stuff on Instagram. I will pat myself on the back. I showed T something where I had the Taylor Swift. It was something about they're gonna have all Taylor Swift theme items at the concession stand. So based on our last show, I had the Rihanna song "Run This Town" playing in the background of that, because as we know, Taylor Swift is reigns supreme over Rihanna somehow. The Navy, let's go. But yeah, no, find us on our social media. It's a party. It's always a party.
Yeah, there will also be announcements, and I got to look into this too. I didn't get a chance to do it today, but the community section of our YouTube channel, it allows us to put announcements and posts and stuff like that there. So if you're ever looking for upcoming news and things like that, whatever we put out on our social media pages, we'll also make sure to copy over to the YouTube channel there, if that's what you're more comfortable using. Again, we're trying to do the best we can to make this as easy of a process for you guys as humanly possible for you to hang out with us. Really quick before we close out, Outside Looking In says the best part of the season was finding this channel. This has been beyond entertaining, and I thank y'all for that work y'all putting in.
No, we appreciate
that.
You.
Means so
we
much.
Really appreciate
man.
you. You don't understand it.
No doubt. Yeah, that means so much. Greatly appreciate y'all, because none of this happens without y'all too. So thank you for exploring and finding this channel. With that being said,
Is he going going deaf? Make that
so
thing.
for those of you who couldn't hear me, thank you so much, Lindsay, for what she said. She says we have the best Bills podcast. I'm definitely going over 90 seconds now with that. I apologize for how loud the music was. With that being said, hit us up on social media if there's anything that you want to. I got it. The music is too loud. Hit us up on. Hit us up on our social media pages if there's anything that you want to talk about. We're going to start getting into doing some shorts throughout the week with the season coming to a close. You know, with everything with the amount of time that we're going to have now and not watching any games, we're still going to be offering content all year round. So definitely, I look forward to hanging out with y'all and you know, watching some of these other games. Maybe we can do something here next week where we just watch the games on Sunday, or we can, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. We can set up at somebody's house or whatever. But anyway, look out for that kind of stuff coming. We're going to have some different things that we're doing during the off season. We're also going to cover the draft. We're going to cover everything that we possibly can with regard to NFL football. If you guys are also interested in the spring league, the USFL versus the XFL now, that is something that I'm willing to cover and look at, because, you know, the NFL does pull players from there too. So, you know, football is life. You know,
draft is my time to shine.
Right. Lindsay says, "Go Ravens and Lions." Okay. You know what? Yeah.
Just go Ravens. Whoever else, I don't even care.
No, if anything, I want the Bills of the NFC to win.
I'm fine with that.
And the Lions.
But I need the Ravens to win. That's all I care about.
All right. With that being said, we greatly appreciate y'all. This has been the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I've been your co-host, Aramis.
Matt.
Mesquite.
We out.
Peace.